Fancy. It wouldn't even let me speak during the intro. It says Mike is muted during the intro.
You're kidding me. All right.
Not that I ever speak during the intro, but I could, but now I can't.
You could. Well, usually at the tail end you do, right before we switch the scene.
Yeah, I had a joke lined up this week, but I'll save it for next week.
Oh, why? Why tease us like that?
Because it's already too late for the joke.
Oh, got it. So next week we shouldn't do it this way?
No. We can do it that way. I'll just talk as soon as I am able to start speaking. I'll start speaking.
All right, nice. Well, how are you, Topher?
I am so good. Life is grand. I have no complaints about my life, but the lives of everyone around the world, I have a lot to complain about. There is some shit going down in not only our country, but many other countries where things are effed.
Miserable, absolutely miserable. Human tragedies everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, a lot in our country and a lot overseas, like you said. So we will get to those.
Yeah, but how are you doing?
I'm doing swell, actually. I had fun researching Battle of LA because there was people that have come out in the past, so I had to remember to include them in there as well. But obviously, it was a cover up from the beginning, right? Or maybe not. It could have been nerves. I don't know. I guess it's normal for people to shoot for 2 or 3 hours and call it nerves.
Totally normal. Yeah, I remember there was one time I went hunting and I saw a deer and I shot and I missed, and then I just kept shooting. I stayed completely stationary and just kept shooting into the trees. And then about 2 or 3 hours later, someone had to pull me aside and say, hey, quit wasting all the ammo. You've been at this for hours. And I said, what? I can't hear you. I was deaf from all the shooting. That's what the joke was there.
And all the barks of the trees were probably, you probably had trees flying over.
I mowed down those trees. The EPA had to come give me a talk.
Yeah, it is definitely a strange story. But, personally, no, I'm doing very well, despite everything that's going on in the world. It hasn't affected us yet. It a little bit is, financially.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we haven't seen the economy yet.
We're right on the cusp of sending all of our troops over to die for a country in the Middle East.
Yeah, as usual, because they can't do it themselves. Yeah, of course they can do it themselves. They'll tell you.
Well, maybe they'll pull some of those people out of North Carolina and send them over to the Middle East.
Yeah, exactly. And then they'll pay for their losing their houses and their businesses, and that's all you have to do. Just come fight for us in the Middle East, and we'll pay for everything once you get back.
I keep seeing all these satire news articles coming out about how people in North Carolina are asking Ukraine and Israel for money. And I think that's very apt. I think that's dead on.
Yeah. Of course, there's people that only, because apparently we're sending money to Lebanon. I think 170 million or something.
137.
Yeah. Million. So we're mentioning that, and they should be upset. I think it's the same thing, but they just leave out the other ones.
Well, at least the people who lost their entire their homes and their whole entire livelihoods, the government's giving them $750. So that's enough to get a fresh start.
So nice of them. Why is it always that number? 750. I mean, why isn't it relative? I mean, you can't just get $750 to everyone for every reason.
Because $666 is too on the nose.
Just keep it close enough, though.
Yeah. It's like in that ballpark. I don't know. Well, this is the Uncovering Anomalies podcast, episode 92.
92, yes.
92. We are getting up there, and today is Sunday, October 6th, as we are recording. So naturally, something big is going to happen tonight or tomorrow, right after we finish recording, just like it always does.
Yeah, then we'd have to cover it late next week once everyone found out about it. That might not always might be a good thing, because then you can.
There's time
more
to
information
digest.
Comes in. Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
Well, no, go ahead.
No, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, as always, I'm joined by I have a need to know Adam.
Hey, everybody.
And I am. Oh God. Oh, oh my God, I'm in a room. The door. Oh God, the door's locked. Oh, there's no windows. I'm trapped. I am trapped. Topher. So happy to broadcast my voice out onto the interwebs,
You
and bring
sound
out.
like claustrophobic, Topher. There.
Yeah, I am slightly claustrophobic. I can do elevators. I
Yeah,
like crawl through tunnels. Like, have you seen those people who go
I
into
can't do that.
they have to like squeeze their bodies through the rock?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
something I could never ever do.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Especially if you don't know how long you have to be crouching down or crawling,
Oh,
you
and
know?
if you go down the rabbit hole and read some of the stories about people who get trapped in caves,
Oh my
it's
god.
just it
No,
is
I don't.
absolutely terrifying.
I do not want to. Yeah, so I am slightly claustrophobic as well. Um, I have brought it under control somewhat, but I haven't been trapped in a coffin or anything like that to really know if I panic or not. It's mostly tight spaces, not small spaces, but tight spaces. Where
There was,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's more tight spaces. There was one time, I played college football, as you know,
yeah,
where I recovered a fumble. And if anyone listening knows anything about football, there's a big pile up, everyone's trying to
yes,
get the football. And I was at the
right,
very bottom, and you can't move, and your head is in this cage. And the way football works is the guy who has the ball, you're trying to do anything you can to get the ball away from him so the refs can say, oh, no, you recovered it, not the guy who's got the
right.
ball. So people were poking my eyes, they were fish hooking me, like sticking their fingers in my mouth. I bit a guy, and like it was like I don't think I was under there that long, maybe like 10, 15 seconds, but like
Yeah.
after about second 5, I fully panicked because I couldn't move. You
Oh my
can't move,
god.
and you're in football
Right.
gear, so you're like enclosed in this shell already. And people are poking my eyes and putting fingers where they're not supposed to be, and I started panicking. But then, right as my panic hit its crescendo, that's when the pile eventually ended. So but that's the last time I remember being panicked about being in a tight spot like that.
I remember the
And that
same
was like
thing
a decade
happened.
ago.
Yeah, yeah. It's the worst when the pylon's the worst. Like you said, you cannot move an inch. It's just like, which makes it so
Yeah.
much worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why a lot of people are scared about being buried alive. It's the same concept.
I don't even want to imagine. So today we are going to go into the Battle of Los Angeles.
This is a very fun case. This was World War II, right?
Yeah,
Or
like
right
three
after?
months, 3 months into it. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
this is a case where the only people that died from friendly fire. Shells raining down on them, which is just such a terrible way to go.
I know. And it was around here. I mean, it was Long Beach but it
Yeah,
was in Southern California.
I kind of know this story. Basically, there were lights above LA, and the military thought it was the Japanese attacking, and so they just started shooting indiscriminately into the air.
Yeah.
As far as I remember, nothing was ever recovered, but like I said earlier, several people died due to the military shooting things up in the air, and then the artillery coming down and killing people, unfortunately.
Yeah, and some people will say that something was recovered by the army and that the navy was jealous or vice versa.
Yeah, but I mean, we've got that. I mean, you just pulled it up, that iconic photo. I mean, there was something in the sky with lights, and they were shooting at it for hours, and there was,
Yeah.
it's not like the movies where, there's a big explosion and something crashes out in the desert and they go recover it. I mean, this thing floated, over LA. The military panic, started shooting up at the sky, and then it just nothing happened.
Very weird. Yeah, I mean, okay, let's just get into it. We can do
Yeah,
the
let's get into
summaries.
it.
So, just months after the attack on Pearl Harbor, when the US declared war on Japan, the sirens blared in Southern California on February 24th, 1942 at around 10:30 p.m. Becoming common, people took to the streets to see what was going on and to witness if it was another false alarm. Nobody could have ever possibly guessed what they were about to see in a million years. The Coast Guard and US Navy got prepared for a possible attack on the sunny shores of California. Preparing their anti-aircraft weapons, Navy ships and Air Force, after getting word of a single or multiple aircraft heading for the coast, when the object became visible and was confirmed to not be a private or commercial aircraft, it became apparent that this craft was unlike anything they had seen before. It was huge and could silently hover and and move at will. That's not written right. The Navy and Coast Guard got the go-ahead from the Secretary of the Navy, Frank Knox, and began firing at the unidentified flying object in the sky around 3 a.m. on the morning of the 25th. And here's the Los Angeles Times article.
Army says alarm real. So, I mean, no one is disputing that the alarm was real, that the panic was real.
Yeah. Pentagon. I mean,
but I mean,
it's not very clear.
something clearly entered the airspace. Otherwise, these people wouldn't be panicking so much.
Exactly, and not for that long.
Yeah.
You want to take this part from the beginning?
Sure. From the beginning of the attack until the early morning around 4:15 a.m., that's a hell of a way to wake up, the military fired over 1,400 rounds of 12.8-pound anti-aircraft artillery at the UFO. The object kept moving from Santa Monica to Long Beach and seemed to have no damage done from the barrage of shells that were fired at the UFO.
Balloon.
It's a balloon that can't get shot down.
Yeah.
There were thousands of witnesses, including very credible reporters from every newspaper in the area that saw the UFO up close and personal. Well, not that up close.
Right.
But, close enough. Later, after all was calm, the U.S. military reported that it must have been just a weather balloon.
God, man.
They got like we said last week, they got the playbook very early and they stuck to it.
They did, yeah.
The extremely odd thing about all of this is that the witnesses stated that it was clearly not a weather balloon, but a large circular object that was being maneuvered in ways that no balloon or even aircraft of that time could have. Also, after firing 1,400 rounds of shells at the UFO, it continued to move along unscathed. If our military couldn't have brought down a weather balloon, then we never would have won the war or any war for that matter.
That is a good point.
That is a very good point. And, balloons, as we know, they pop.
Exactly. And fall to the ground. They don't just keep floating.
They're not metal proof.
You're talking about 1,400 rounds.
And those are huge rounds, too. What did it say? 12.6, 12.8 pounds? That's a big round. That's not firing at 12.8.
12.8 pounds.
That's not firing like a little tiny bullet. That's a big old thing.
Dude, that's a lot. That's a lot of pounds of TNT, and it's 12.8 times 1,400. So,
right.
Yeah.
With all of the evidence in the Battle of LA case, it clearly points to nothing man-made, either U.S. or Japanese. With all of the witnesses that saw the UFO and the unbelievable amount of artillery fired at the object without even touching it, it's very clear that we were dealing with one of the first multiple-person UFO sightings in the USA. And unfortunately, though multiple people UFO sightings, those are actually kind of rare. And often when multiple people see the same UFO, they don't describe the same, later when they're being interviewed or debriefed, they don't describe seeing the same object.
That's another thing. Yeah.
That's to them. Right. That's why, my theory after all these years of reading about UFOs is that it's a psychic phenomenon as much as it is a physical one.
Both. Yeah.
So
here's some articles.
5 deaths in LA raid. So they're talking about the people who died from shrapnel. Well, is it shrapnel if it's the bullet doesn't like break or anything? It just still. You know what I mean? I always thought shrapnel was like, it doesn't matter. Here's one from the LA Times: mystery air object seen in sky over LA. And then another one from the LA Times: mystery air. Oh, that's the same title.
Oh yeah, same one.
But it says Democrats win in New Jersey. Woohoo! Yeah, this is the very famous. Changed. This is a very famous photo. I believe when I researched this, I think they've touched up this photo, so it obviously is. And you have to remember, this is World War II times, so they touched it up to make it look so the spotlights were more noticeable.
I think there was a news. They published a newscast from that time.
Yeah, cool. Let's see this video.
The news of the world, Wednesday, February 25th. Once again, Columbia's correspondents in world capitals and the Western Pacific are ready to give you the latest news direct by shortwave radio.
And now for news of our own West Coast, we take you to Los Angeles and the report of Byron Palmer.
Anti-aircraft guns went into action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area
shortly after 3 a.m. Pacific wartime this morning. The anti-aircraft guns began barking during a blackout ordered by the 4th Interceptor Command at 2:25 a.m. The unidentified object, which some sources thought might be a blimp, moved slowly down the Pacific coast from Santa Monica and disappeared south of Long Beach. Army officials declined to comment on the possibility that the object might have been a blimp. However, it required nearly 30 minutes to travel some 25 miles, far slower than an airplane. Watchers on the rooftop of the Columbia Broadcasting Building in the heart of Hollywood could plainly see the flashes of guns and searchlights sweeping the skies in a wide arc along the coastal area. Concussion of the shells could be felt in downtown Los Angeles, 50 miles away. U.S. Army planes quickly took to the dark skies, but whether they contacted the object has not been announced. Army officials say they will not comment until they receive a full report of the action. Although some watchers say they saw airplanes in the air, semi-official sources say they probably were the U.S. Army's pursuit. Several observers say they saw one or more planes spotlighted by 20 or 30 searchlights. The object moved southward, presumably over Huntington Park at the western edge of Los Angeles, and on southward to about Long Beach on the coast. By 3:30 a.m., observers said the object appeared to be over the south of Long Beach. Searchlights closely followed the object down the coast and kept it centered in their glare. Shells frequently could be seen bursting near the object, but none appeared to hit it. The shooting stopped about 3:30 a.m. The shooting brought warfare to the front door of this city of 1.25 million population for the first time since December 7th. Already it was alert to the presence off the Southern California coast of a Japanese submarine which had pumped 25 shells into an oil field north of Santa Barbara Monday evening. Because of the presence of the submarine, a 3-hour alert was ordered at dusk last night, and civilian authorities stood at their posts while the Army and Navy continued their search for the submersible. The evening alert ended at 10:23 p.m., but another was sounded at 2:22 a.m., and the blackout followed within 3 minutes. It covered Los Angeles County from Santa Monica to Pomona. At 2:20.
So there was a submarine that they had that shot somewhere to California before this.
Yeah, interesting.
They said.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
But what we just finished listening to is like my favorite radio voice of all time. But okay, so we live close to Los Angeles. They always call it Los Angeles.
I know, instead of Los Angeles. Los
Well,
Angeles.
I'm wondering, but now I'm questioning, like, are we pronouncing it wrong, or like they're pronouncing it wrong?
I don't know. I think just words change during the times,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Right, like just even his accent's different.
Well, it's that oh man, there's a term
It's very
for it.
nasally.
They call it no, there's a term for it. Actors used to use it too. I'm completely blanking on the name. It was called like
Okay.
No, that's not it. Anyway, but that was like, and that was how actors talk too. They speak, they pronounce their words very carefully, and they say things in a certain manner. They call it like the Atlantean accent. I don't think that's right.
Yeah, I've heard about that, but I don't know if that's what they're talking about. Like newscasters, they're taught the Atlantean accent, right?
Yeah, it was like, so man, I feel like I've got like puddle deep knowledge of about everything. Marlon Brando became a famous actor because he was the first one to speak in his like normal voice instead of using the Atlantean accent.
Oh, I did not know that.
That was one of the big deals about him.
Oh, okay. And that makes sense because he did speak. Well, he did speak differently than everyone else during those times.
Because everyone wanted to use that weird cadence, and he didn't.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So this is from Fox as well. I don't know. It doesn't say what date. Maybe we'll see the date once we press play.
Wait, no, it's up there in the top right corner. Scroll up. February was it 14th, Valentine's Day?
24th. Oh no, but you think this is the actual Fox News? No, it's Fox News, so it's got to be 90s or 2000s maybe when they showed up.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Let's see this.
Yeah, I don't know.
February 25th marks
Yeah,
an
that's like
anniversary that
90s.
few remember.
No, this is
and
definitely
some refuse to
1945.
forget. In 1942, an unidentified object was seen hovering over the California coast. The military, poised to defend the coast from a foreign invasion, took aim and fired. The event, called the Battle of Los Angeles, made headlines. What was in the sky and where did it go? Filmmaker and UFO researcher Jose Escamilla highlights the events of that
Escamilla.
night.
What happened at 2 in the morning, some objects entered into our airspace. One of them hovered right over Santa Monica and Culver City. Some described it as a round, dome-shaped object that was about 100 feet diameter. Some of them said it was a little smaller. But the unique thing about it is the military, the Army, started firing at this thing for about an hour, hour and a half, but they could not bring the object down.
Within 24 hours, the Department of War sent a memo to the president detailing the incident as possibly unidentified airplanes flying at various speeds and declaring the investigation ongoing. But that came to an abrupt end when the Army declared the flying object a weather balloon, sparking theories of a government cover-up.
If they can't bring down a weather balloon with over 1,500 rounds of anti-aircraft shrapnel, 12-pound weaponry, what are they going to do against a real enemy target? That's what they decided. What do? Do we tell the American and the world public there is something among us that we cannot bring down, we cannot control, we don't know where they're from, and we don't know what they're doing here? No, they didn't want to say that. So the next best thing to do was to just officially deny their existence. That's when the first official denial on UFOs started.
We're speaking about UFO with small u, small f, small o, things seen in the sky. In wartime, you're going to see lots of things in the sky, some there, some is not. But looking at the Battle of Los Angeles as some kind of capital U, capital F, capital O event is pretty silly. We're talking about a case, there are no surviving witnesses, documentation is spotty at best, and it's the fairy tale syndrome, long ago and far away.
So what did happen that February night? The government stands by its claim that it was a weather balloon, but skeptics still say it was the first in a long line of UFO cover-ups.
Most likely, yeah. Of course, Fox News have to bring on that dude.
Yeah, they have to.
At the end, I mean, he could be right, but him saying that there's no witnesses will show that there are witnesses that are alive.
I mean, yeah, he's a really good plant for the CIA. Oh, wait, no, I mean the mainstream media. Sorry, I get those mixed up a lot. They're so intertwined.
I just love they call it fantasy.
Instead of disputing any of the facts from that night or morning, I should say, just saying, oh, there's no living eyewitnesses. And well, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with Roswell, but people, still want to know the truth.
Yeah. And
because something happened.
And that CBS report, I mean, it was detailed. It was saying the searchlight were following the object. It said, going from here to there, and they were shooting. And you can't just get away from that. That's what really hurts these cover-ups is when the news is covering it live.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So here's a video just going through enhancing that one image.
Yeah, it's such a I don't like this. It's so hard to come up with. You're talking about a newspaper photo from 1942. How the hell are you going to get anything from that? You
can't. I mean, look at this.
Yeah, no. This is
the Pelican.
This is a smudge on a almost 80-year-old document. Well, I think over 80 years old, but you get my point.
Yeah. So there is this one also. It's really long, but it goes through all of the articles that went through that day. What the Navy did, what the Navy said, what the Army said. Basically, like they said, the Navy said that they did see something, and then the Army said it was just a weather balloon. So that doesn't help when both of them have different stories. But yeah, firing all those guns is insane. There's this guy, William Tompkins, that came out.
Oh, good. Let's hear what he has to say.
He recently died. He was also a whistleblower for, and they checked all his credentials. He's one of those where he had the right credentials for working with the Navy, but he also talked about the secret space program. But here in this interview,
did the Navy deny his existence?
Sorry, what? You cut off what?
Did the Navy deny his existence?
No, actually, I think even the forward to his book was some admiral. So it's a very strange case. This guy, yeah. But he died shortly after releasing this information on the book.
As
But
they
in
always
this
do.
interview, so I think that's what happens, right? They get near their death and they said, "Screw it! What are they going to do to me?
Yeah, exactly.
Kill me?" Yeah. So here, in this interview, he does talk about what happened that night. So let's listen to him.
Dozens and dozens and dozens of different shaped vehicles. This great big one parked right above you, right over Long Beach. Okay, everybody is outside looking at this and watching it. There's vehicles going on both sides of it. There's vehicles above it, and several times, actually, the vehicle went underneath, and the anti-aircraft gun lights, the searchlights, shined on them and followed them. So this goes on till about 2:30. We get bored. We all go back to bed. Okay? We get bored.
Well,
no, hold on. Just wait a minute. Hold on. Okay? We get bored.
Yeah.
Now, while this is happening, and it goes on until 5 o'clock in the morning, many of the other people outside, watching this from the street, stayed up all night long.
Yeah.
Okay, but
better than a movie.
Okay, no, wait a minute. Listen now, on the other side of your planet, at this same time, the Germans were bombing London.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. Holy cats. This is February 1942.
Right.
Okay. Now, we got bored and went to sleep. Now, I want to make a very important point about the Los Angeles event, the sighting.
Okay.
Nobody got scared. Nobody got nervous. Nobody ran in the house and jumped with the covers over their head. Okay. Everybody watched this thing. Nobody got sick. Nobody got real sick, died. There weren't anything of that. The only people that were killed in this were from our own shrapnel. Now, people watched this same sighting, we found out later, from Santa Barbara. People watched it from San Diego.
Sure.
This is a massive group of vehicles. Now, listen to this analysis. You got to tell me. There's only two ways this could accomplish what was going on. One, the extraterrestrials vehicle come in over the ocean, okay? Hundreds of them. They go all over Los Angeles. They go to the toe on Mount Wilson. They make a turn. They either go north or they go south. They fly out to sea. They turn around out over the ocean and they come back to make you think there's a whole lot more vehicles there than actually there is. They either had to do that or we watched thousands of vehicles come in over Western United States from 1:30 to almost 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. And they shot at them and weren't able to hit them or destroy them.
The shells burst on the bottom of them. They're not bursting on the bottom. There's an electromagnetic shield, but the shell hits and it blows up, but it doesn't do any damage. Now, yes, we did shoot down two small ones, which were not occupied. One of those went in the ocean only a half a mile off the Rainbow Pier in Long Beach. Your Navy picked that up. So your Navy had an extraterrestrial vehicle in February of 1942.
Okay, so that's before the operatives came back with the.
So that's a new thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That he's saying that they did shoot down two of them. Now, there's something I also read recently where missiles and like bombs don't work on these crafts, but bullets do. For some reason, the bullets can go through.
You know what? I can kind of get that actually, because like think of a missile. You've got your onboard computers and electronics and stuff that make the missile. You know, in addition to obviously the explosive part, bullets are not smart. They're just hunks of metal that are thrown essentially. Right. So I kind of get that.
Yeah, and missiles when they blow up, it's a force, so it can protect itself from a force, but not, I guess, from something trying to pierce it. Yeah.
Interesting.
So this guy said the Navy had something. For some reason, because I remember reading a book he was in, I remember reading that the Army actually got it. Nothing, but I guess I remembered wrong. So he's saying the Navy actually had a craft, unpiloted craft, in 1942.
Hopefully, it's not a bunch of deformed Russians that were just thrown over the
Yeah, deformed Russians or
thrown
Germans.
out onto Santa Monica Beach.
It's such a stupid theory.
I
isn't
love
it?
that theory. It's so dumb, but I love it. I want it to be real.
So many podcasters believe in that,
I
like
know.
Danny Jones, anything but aliens.
Anything but aliens.
Information.
Uh,
Because you said in 1942 they had
Okay. This took place just before I was contacted, pulled out of high school, thrown over to Naval Air Station, North Island. Okay.
Mhm.
What this says is that a whole lot of people who were involved in this sighting immediately knew there were extraterrestrials. Now, I want to take this a little further. People who watched this sighting, and this is not, there's documents that prove it, but they haven't been released. Navy, Army, Air Corps generals, and an individual whose name is Donald Douglas Sr. Those 5 people were in meetings that evening. They were still in meetings. They watched this whole thing. They watched everything. And bang, extraterrestrials. No cover up. They're real. Okay. So those fellows got together.
Okay.
Just a second. Douglas then put this group together, the 2 admirals, the 2 Army generals, Air Force generals,
Okay.
and they put together a group of people and initiated a secret think tank inside of Douglas, actually within 1 week of the sighting.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
And so, we talk here.
That's right. So this guy also works for, I think it is Douglas, but many of the contractors, he worked for them. He designed aircraft, ships. I mean, he came out for the secret space program. That was his big thing when he came out. So him talking about this, that Douglas had a think tank 1 week after this would make sense.
Sure. And one thing I'm really getting from this interview is he does not like to be interrupted.
No, 1 second. Like, dude, relax, man. Be sweet.
I don't like that he's mansplaining to this woman about his knowledge.
Yeah, he definitely is. I'm mansplaining. Maybe I should speed him up a bit.
No. I think you're good right where you're at.
Okay.
February 42, 1951, I went to work for that secret think tank inside of Douglas. I had been working for Northrop for 2.5 years. I worked for North American for a short time. I worked for Lockheed for a short time. And then somebody telepathically told me I need to leave Lockheed and I need to go to work over in Santa Monica at Douglas. I didn't read a document that said do that.
Okay.
So I went over and applied for a job as a draftsman. Okay, I'm sorry, not a draftsman, as a model builder of metal wind tunnel models. Okay, because remember I had built a group of models over quite a number of years.
Yes, but I still, I mean, I want to make sure that we have this, the LA sighting, the LA Battle of LA, because that was so amazing. And this is even prior to Roswell.
Yes.
Okay. And in essence, are you able to say who those other people are? Because you said Douglas is one of them, but the other admirals and generals that were in that meeting, that small meeting, watching all of this, who then put the secret think tank together, who they were? Is one Curtis LeMay? I mean,
yes.
Okay. Bobby Ray Inman, was he alive then? I don't even know.
He was just a kid then.
So he wasn't.
But Bobby Ray Inman later on became the #1 admiral.
Still is.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, he 26 years he ran with the ball.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
He knew what he was talking about.
Oh, absolutely. So, okay, but did the Battle of LA is going on, but at the same time, did any of the ETs in that craft? I mean, and do you know which ETs were doing this? Was it the Nordics? Did any of them, teleport down to meet anybody? Was there any reported encounters during?
Well,
I know, right? It was at the Nordics. It was a German.
Yeah, I mean that's oh boy, for anyone who's like just entering the whole studying UFOs or wanting to know more about UFOs, that's like such a. I think you should play from here. I want to see his response, but that's
Okay.
such a like deep cut question that
To
people
just
won't
throw
even,
out there.
people won't even be able to follow that. Like if you're
Right.
looking for the entry level interview with people from the military that know about UFOs, that's not the question to ask.
No, it isn't. Who was it? The Nordics or was it the Greys?
Was it the
I w-
reptilians?
I did research though that there was some uranium that we were producing in Southern California for the Manhattan Project. Might be why they showed up as well.
Yeah, tracks.
Let's go back.
24 hours.
Let's go back to Douglas Sr., 2 Navy admirals and 2 Army Air Corps generals in a meeting. Okay, they had been in meetings all day long. They were still in meetings,
Right.
because it's only 7:30. I mean, come on. So they watched this event, and they immediately structured and organized this group of people, pulling in all of the top scientists they could pull them in, put them inside a secret area, inside of an aircraft company. Douglas Sr. did this. So you got to give him credit
Yeah, sure.
for this. Now, later on, we had a lot of problem with his son in there because he didn't know what was going on. But Sr. was brilliant. He put this organization together, which ended up being a major organization later on studying extraterrestrial and is still studying it.
So are you saying that was the beginning of MJ-12?
Yeah.
In a word, yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Okay. Was Forrestal one of the
Didn't
admirals?
answer the question about Nordics and then came around and
Didn't.
talked about MJ-12. Incredible.
Yeah. Completely ignored it.
Completely ignored it.
I don't think he knows.
And listen, folks at home, Mom, if you want to get abducted by aliens, it's the Nordics. They're the fun, kind, peace-loving aliens.
Yes, they're the Europeans. Well, actually, no, they're not. Are they all blonde? I
European.
mean, anyway, yeah.
Are they all what?
Blondes? I know that.
That's as far as I know. All the people who have reported Nordics,
There's blonde blue eyes.
thought they were blonde. I mean, that's the whole. You know, like when Hitler was talking about the Aryan race.
Yeah.
This is who he was talking about. He was talking about the Nordics.
Yep, exactly, and wanted to emulate them.
But they treat you right.
Oh, do they?
Do you what's your knowledge about them? The Nordics? Yeah, no, they always they treat you right
All right. Do they
in a
mate
sex
with you?
way. That's what I was getting at.
Yes, they mate with you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what else Tompkins tells us. He hasn't blown my mind yet.
Nope.
In
No.
that meeting?
No.
Was Rickabotter?
No.
Are you able to tell me the other players in that room? What we know the beginning of MJ-12, actually. We know some of these players. Vannevar Bush,
No. I just assumed sort of
Von
sidestep that.
Carmen. I could go on.
Okay, I just assumed
All right, fine.
kept
No
that one
problem.
aside.
Okay, so we've got that. But you didn't answer my question. Was anyone having contact? Any
Okay.
high-level people contacted even before the event happened, in fact?
Okay. My understanding on this was that nobody came down, nobody talked to the people that were in these vehicles, but probably thousands of people telepathically got information. Okay.
Okay.
So the bells were rung in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
And you were one of them.
I just happened to be one of them, I think. I can't prove it, but somehow.
Well, I mean, this is a good time to ask you. I mean, are there other guys like you? Because you
yes,
seem to
very
be one
definitely.
of a kind.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of other
There's a
people.
lot of guys like you in,
Yes.
in this secret space program who were somehow contacted and have had special guidance and knowledge on how to
All
build
right,
and
that
what
goes
to
to
do.
the SSP. There was another witness that saw the craft before the battle.
Oh.
Yeah, I only found her today. So she is being interviewed actually by MUFON. This is just a couple years ago. So she's still alive.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We can put this on 1.5.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Carol or Joe, I'm sorry. Do I have your permission to record this interview?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay. To start, I'd love to hear your recollection of that day in your own words and get it recorded.
Well, that it was in the evening, and it was during the Second World War, and we were having blackouts, and
In Ventura.
it was in Ventura, we lived on the beach, right on the water. And when the blackouts would happen, we would turn out the lights, of course, and look out at the ocean. And the whole side of our house was windows, so we could see everything out in the ocean, hoping to see maybe a Japanese submarine or an airplane or something. But it was my grandmother, my mother, and my older brother and I were sitting there trying to see something, and all at once a huge thing went in front of the windows. It filled the whole window. I couldn't tell exactly what shape it was because it was too big, and I don't know whether it had lights or if they were windows on it, but there was something on the side that glowed, and it took seconds for it to go past us. I didn't hear a motor or anything. It felt something like maybe a vibration or a humming sound. I can't put my finger on exactly what it was, but we watched it go. It went from Los Angeles direction to Santa Barbara, and the Santa Barbara direction. And we watched it, and afterwards we were all like, kind of, what the heck was that? And my grandmother then just told me to be quiet about it. Then later on, like, she told me not to ever tell anyone about it because they would send me away to a crazy farm and take me away from them. So we never discussed it. But my mother reminded me that the next day, the place that we lived had along the beach as well as our house, there were two, they were like apartments, two small apartments. And it would have gone right in front of that place too. However, nobody talked, so I don't know. But my mother said that the next day, everybody acted strange. You know, it was like nobody talked, it was different. The back of our house and the back of the apartments was like, it had a wash house and it had some things there. And everybody was out in that most of the time. That day, nobody was out there. If they did come out, they were out and back in quickly. And that's about it. I didn't, I have no idea what it was. And my parents, my grandparents, my brother, same, had no idea what it was. But it was around the same time that they had seen sightings in Los Angeles. And I was kind of thinking maybe it was connected to that, possibly, and maybe not. But then later on, of course, they turned the lights. We could turn the lights back on, and nothing. We didn't see anything, or we didn't hear that there was anything out there. And that's about it.
Okay. Now, to the best of your recollection, what time do you recall it being then?
It was early evening. I don't know whether we were on savings time or what, but it was dark. We weren't in bed yet because we were kids, and we went to bed at 8. So it probably was 7:30 or close to 8.
Okay, so it had just gotten dark then, probably. Well, no, because this is February, wintertime still. So dark was probably more around 6:30 still around then. So yeah, probably just ambient lighting at best still at that time.
Right.
Now, do you recall any of the adults talking about the damage from what has been termed the Battle of Los Angeles after the fact?
I don't remember them discussing it. I've heard about it later than that. But I don't remember my parents discussing anything. My dad wasn't there because my dad was working at a army base doing something. I don't remember what he did then, but it had to do with measuring things. And no, he wasn't there then. But he didn't see it, or he didn't, and he read the paper all the time. If there was anything in the paper, he would have. And of course, we told him, so he would have connected it.
Okay. Now, how about in your childhood or in that period, do you recall seeing any of the damage or going by the area where the Japanese shelling took place? That was north of you a bit.
Right.
Do you recall seeing that at all?
Not at all. No.
Okay.
I heard about it, but didn't see it. That was a ways north from us.
Right. I was just curious if possibly, you might have heard passing discussion. I realized that was, not just yesterday. And,
right.
You were very young at the time. And too, back in those days, they didn't talk about things like that in front of young, impressionable children.
Exactly.
And I heard pretty much the same byline from my dad, who was Navy. That particular evening of February 24th, 1942, upset him so badly that he would never talk about it. It's doubtful it would have been that size as well.
Right.
Now, have you seen the photo in the LA Times of the searchlights converging on whatever it was that everyone fired at?
No, I haven't.
You've never seen that LA Times photo? Okay. If you get a chance, Google Battle of Los Angeles and then go look at the photos. In fact, maybe you could do it. Well, no, not right now, but when we get done, do it. And email me if it looks like anything like what you saw.
Okay.
Because there's a definite shape there defined by the lights coming together.
I find it hard to believe that she never even looked that up. That's crazy. But it is weird.
That's strange to me. Also, so you and I have dealt with MUFON before to report our own sightings. This guy seems to be a lot better of a MUFON agent than the one we dealt with. He did not have time for us.
Oh no, he didn't. He just completely just said, "Oh, you guys didn't say anything," then started ignoring us.
Yeah,
and he didn't even give us a reason why.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
We got the template response back that just said, "Thank you for your reporting to MUFON."
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's nothing to follow up with. So sayonara.
And I remember when I looked into him and I found his LinkedIn, and he worked for a military contractor. I forget which one.
Yeah.
So here are some of the witnesses from the newspaper articles from that back then. So,
in Los Angeles, February 20. Hold on, scroll.
There you go.
February 25th.
Yeah.
Anti-aircraft guns thundered over the the area earlier today for the first time ever in the war, but hours later they were shooting at what they were shooting at remained a military secret.
Oh,
An unidentified object moving slowly down the coast from the Santa Monica was variously reported as a balloon and an airplane. Some observers asserted they saw two planes over Long Beach. A United Press dispatch received by the Times said shrapnel, in quotes, fell like rain in one district. The dispatch described the object seen in the air as possibly an escaped barrage balloon. What is a barrage balloon?
I have no idea.
Damage from shells. Army intelligence, although uncommunicative, scoffed at reports of civilian observers that as many as 200 planes were over the area. All right, so there's a lot of stuff going on during this non-event event.
I know. A garage door was ripped off in a Los Angeles residential district, and fragments shattered windows and tore into a bed where a few moments before Miss Blanche Sedgwick and her niece Josie Duffy had been sleeping.
Oh, they just don't name people like that anymore.
Josie Duffy
and Blanche Sedgwick. Man, those are awesome names. Bring old school names back.
I know, the innocent 50s.
Yeah, well, 40s. Well, even 30s.
Oh, yeah, 40s, that's right.
These are adults. So they were named, ostensibly 20, 30 years before this. A Santa Monica bomb squad was dispatched to remove an unexploded anti-aircraft shell in a driveway there. An unofficial source, which declined to be quoted directly, told the Associated Press that the U.S. Army planes quickly went into action. Later, however, another official said no United States aircraft had taken off because of possible danger from the Army's own anti-aircraft fire. So you got a lot of conflicting reports here.
Yeah, 1 minute they say it was their aircraft that they sent up there. Now they say that we would never do that because it was dangerous.
Right. But there's reports of planes all over the area, but no one is taking no one's claiming that these planes, they're planes all the way from Mars.
It's unbelievable, really.
Yeah,
to think about it, especially at these times. Imagine at 2:20 in the morning with raid sirens.
I know, crazy, but you got to look at this next paragraph. 8 Japanese, several described by police as aliens, were detained for questioning as widespread investigations were started into reports, many of them from official civilian air raid wardens, that lights suspected of being possible signals to the enemy were seen blinking from vantage points throughout the entire Blacked Out area. We did some terrible things to the Japanese. I'm not even talking about the 2 nuclear bombs, but American citizens were put into camps.
Yes,
just because
they were
Japanese.
Totally Americans. Yeah, just because that they had origins, that they're originally from Japan.
Nuts, man, nuts. We're
It is
looking at
nuts.
that right now. You know, I really hope that's not the case, but I'm really, expecting these re-education camps or FEMA camps or whatever they want to call them, to house people with Middle Eastern,
Oh yeah,
genetics because
not far off.
because all they're trying to protect people with small hats.
Right, they're all terrorists.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And they're gonna say it's
well.
to fight.
At least FEMA's broke, according to them this week.
Not that broke, but yeah. They're gonna and they'll do it. They'll say they're fighting anti-Semitism or racism or bigotry.
That's always the reason. Yeah, for using words. It's basically thought police.
It is thought police.
Yeah, just don't think this way, or you'll be re-educated.
Yeah, here we go. 3 Japanese, 2 women, and a woman were seized by police at the beach city of Venice on suspicion of signaling with flashlights near the pier. They were removed to the FBI headquarters, where Richard B. Hood said at the request of Army authorities, and we have nothing to say. Oh, way to pass the buck there, Richard B. Hood. Richard
so because
B.
they're Japanese,
bitch.
because they had flashlights, they thought they were like doing signals or something.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Well, okay. This guy just died of a heart attack during the thing.
All right.
Thousands late to work.
Of course.
Got to keep the machine growing.
Okay, so they gave an all at 17 a.m. So you're talking about 5 hours later.
And all clear at 7:19 a.m. Thank God I can go to school today, Mom.
You do that so well. Traffic, thousands of Angelinos were an hour or more late, of course.
I think it's in this context, it's Angelinos.
Angelinos, that's right. Los Angeles.
There it is.
The blackout was the first covering the metropolitan area since the first week of the war. So I guess they used to do blackouts before, right? It would make sense because you want to see what's in the sky.
Yeah, I mean the British used to do that too. They were trying to hide essentially their small villages and cities from the German airplanes. So it's not, this is not unheard of.
Look at that. And radio stations went off the air with the first alert and were not permitted to resume broadcasting until 8:23.
Now that
bullshit that it was a weather balloon.
That actually, yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't you want, well, okay. I guess I'm thinking like total blackout. You don't want radio waves going on because then the enemy can target you. I don't know technology enough, but that's the logic behind it. I guess I can understand that.
Like a psyop, they can do a psyop against you or warn you or something or make you, more scared.
Yeah.
So object travels slowly. There was speculation, meanwhile, that the unidentified object might have been a blimp, although veteran lighter-than-air experts in Akron, Ohio, the nation's center of such construction, said Japan was believed to have lost interest in such craft following experiments soon after the First World War.
Yeah, they don't move fast enough.
Exactly, but wouldn't they blow up because they're filled with gas?
Right. I mean, the Hindenburg wants a word.
Yeah, exactly. These sources said inability to obtain fireproof helium was behind the discarding of the plans.
I was just about to
there we go.
Helium. Yeah, helium is a fire retardant.
Oh yeah, that's why it's used in space, right?
Yeah, but this is why I want blimps to come back, even though we have like a global shortage of helium. Do you know about this?
No, but I know it was that way at least in 2020. We couldn't find any balloons because there was no helium in the market. Yeah. So what? It's happening again?
I just thought it was like it's not something that can be created. Just
right.
The Earth was naturally running out of helium, but it's not like a super. I mean, what the hell do you use it for besides balloons?
And space. They use it a lot in space.
Yeah.
Yeah, like satellites, everything that gets launched into space, they use helium.
A newspaper man at San Pedro said airplanes passed over the Los Angeles, Long Beach harbor area. The craft were not identified, but they didn't bomb anything.
No.
So there were many witnesses were reporting that there were planes in the air during this time, although the official stance by the military is that they had no planes in the air.
Yeah, that's what this always happens when the communication is just all over the place.
Yeah, there's that. It's like not a fable. It's the story about the Americans in the Middle East, where the Russians or the Chinese or whoever, they're talking about how do Americans, do so well in war, and the U.S. The joke is the U.S. always says, well, if we don't know what we're doing, then the enemy doesn't know what we're doing.
Very true.
Yeah.
So firing, first heard shortly after 3 a.m., ceased suddenly at 3:30 a.m. after the object disappeared south of Signal Hill at the east edge of Long Beach. Anti-aircraft guns fired steadily for 2-minute periods, were silent about 45 seconds, and continued that routine nearly half an hour.
Wow. All of Southern California from the San Joaquin Valley to the Mexican border is blacked out.
Yeah.
Los Angeles doused its lights first at 2:25 a.m.
In San Diego.
Yeah. San Diego, just 17 miles from the border. Is it? I thought it was on the border.
Yeah, I mean it's huge, but yeah, maybe they mean the center of San Diego or something.
They did not receive their lights out until 3:05 a.m.
So something is clearly moving down the coast,
Mhm.
and they're told later on to go into a blackout.
You know what it is? The Americans are putting deformed children in a UFO and throwing it back over the border. This is for Roswell.
Well, wait, this is before Roswell.
This
So
is before
Roswell was
Roswell.
in retaliation, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
But here it is. So it came 32 hours after a submarine fired 25 shrapnel shells at the Elwood Tidelands oil field during President Roosevelt's war address to the nation Monday night. Can you believe the Japanese were doing that?
Well, no, listen, you got to read the next sentence. I'm actually shocked at this next part. Damage in that attack was negligible, about $500 to an oil well's housing and power lines. So they probably spent in the tens of thousands firing at this, and they caused $500 worth of damage.
That's hilarious.
Only 2 of the shells scored hits. 23 fell harmlessly into pastures, foothills, and the beach.
Oh man. I mean, they have a submarine and they can get all the way to our coast, but then they can't.
Oh, it's probably changed nowadays, but
oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, this is a great site that has all these articles in there.
Yeah,
they're all written that day, the 25th, or that morning.
Right, the next morning.
Boom, 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 boom. Anyway, it's a really strange event.
Very strange. And there's no, once again, we're covering a story with no answers.
Yeah. But I look, it's not a weather balloon and it's not something Japanese. Right.
I don't think so. No. I like to think it was the aliens really liked oil and the Japanese knew that. And that's why the Japanese were trying to blow up our oil fields.
That is so weird that I guess, yeah, because that's how we got them mad, right? To go after,
right?
We cut off oil from them.
That was how we got put into World War II, is because the Japanese saw, that we were not contributing. We stopped being neutral when we didn't contribute oil to the rest of the world. Right? Am I
something
right?
Like that. Yeah, something like that. I mean, at least Japan was cut off.
There's Sankamani Island. Don't swim to that, people. Don't do anything on that island. You'll get blown up.
Yes, you will. The U.S. military does practice bombings over there, testing out our new missiles. So do not go to. But Catalina. Now, it is also something. I mean, it's something we have to say is that Nimitz happened around here. Gimbal. Wait. Gimbal is Florida, which is Tic Tac. Tic Tac was around here.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought that was here. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tic Tac was around here as well. So there's something about this area of the California coast with Catalina Island and the Pacific Ocean.
I mean, to me, it makes sense that there's a huge population of people there concentrated. Especially Long Beach. and Catalina. I mean, if these aliens have to use us, like I've said on the show many times, as antennas in order to what's the word, materialize into this universe, into this world, they need to be close to their energy, which seems to be people's psyches for some reason.
Right, and a lot of pot is smoked around here as well.
Yeah, that's also part of it.
But you know, we could do our CE5 somewhere in this area.
Yeah, let's get a we'll get
We
a
do have access to it.
beachside hotel in Long Beach or Santa Monica.
You know, I sent it to you. I got night.
Yeah, did you buy those?
I did. Yeah, $99.
shit.
A good sale,
Alright.
and it just came in. They're really good. I mean, it's like it looked like it was daytime. I was at night looking at things. It looked like it was daytime. I don't know how it does it.
I love technology. It's so cool.
It is very cool. So we have that to use as well.
Awesome.
On that mission. So there we go for that. I mean, you could go into more details about what people saw, read the articles if you want.
There's plenty of stuff here. You know, we covered the the official story and all of the offshoots of that. Clearly something happened February 24th, 1942. And whatever it was is bizarre. And unfortunately, the U.S. government does what they always do. They bury it and then wait for people to start caring about it 50 years later when everyone who actually knew anything about it is dead. So,
yep. And that's what they use as an excuse also. It's like, oh, there's no witnesses alive anymore, so just forget about it.
Right?
About it. Well, speaking about something like that,
let's move on.
There's a trailer for The Program.
Yeah, this looks so good.
Yeah, James Fox's new documentary. I can't wait for it. I think it's end of this month. It's coming out.
Nice.
But you know, it's about the program, which probably started around the Battle of Los Angeles, I would say.
All right.
Let's take a listen.
In 2017, the New York Times published a story exposing a secret government program investigating UFOs.
That story was kind of a catalyst for a lot of things that have happened since. Members of Congress started to ask questions.
Instruments report there is something there. There are flight characteristics that we can't explain.
UAPs are unexplained. It's true. They need to be investigated.
Here we are having a hearing where just a few years ago, we didn't even acknowledge that these things were real.
Do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
You're telling me people have come forward claiming firsthand knowledge of craft of non-human origin?
That's correct. We have sources who have asserted not only that there have been crashes, but there have been crash retrievals.
Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
Biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they human or non-human?
Non-human.
I'm sitting here today because the American people are being lied to.
We are the American government, and we are open, and we're going to be open about this.
What has been revealed:
non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity.
Is only part of the story.
The pressure's on. The Pentagon, the CIA are going to have to answer the mail.
Some are risking everything.
Have you had incidences that have caused you to be in fear for your life?
Yes, personally.
To uncover the rest.
What is being done to verify the assertion that the U.S. government has spaceships of non-human intelligence in their possession?
That kind of revelation unearths people's beliefs.
I would go to jail to say things that I've been exposed to in the program.
Sweet. Very cool. Peter Coyote.
Keep playing. I want to see if there's a release date at the end of the trailer.
Okay.
Well, sorry.
2000.
That was very anticlimactic. I apologize.
That's all right. Wait, maybe it's here.
I think it just says later this year, right?
What if we go to
a movie releases later this year? Nailed it.
Annoying.
But I mean, the fact that like Screen Rant, I don't know if you've watched any of their content. They do a lot of trailers and stuff like that, but it's like a big time YouTube channel. So the fact that they're posting this as like, hey, this is a movie to get excited for. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I didn't know that. So this guy, he's a new one. That whistleblower. Well, there's two new whistleblowers.
Fantastic.
This guy, and I think he might be at the meetings. Well, this guy who was hiding himself, military dude, and this guy. This guy right here.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was the only one I didn't recognize out of the bunch.
Yeah, he's new. So I mean, how many more people need to come out? No one's gonna care unless they fucking hold something. And I get it. I want to hold it too. But you know,
yeah. The remember we talked about what's his name? The Coulthard. He's someone had posted on, or submitted a comment on his AMA saying, you know, I heard there's rumors of someone big coming out and saying that UFOs are real. And everyone's speculating as to what it was or who it was, I should say.
Oh yeah, he said something, some high level, right?
Yeah, but nothing has come of that so far.
No, of course not. Soon.
Yeah, it's always soon. Months away, later this year.
Are these fake?
Now, I have seen this on Reddit. I don't know because is there original footage attached to this?
That's the thing. Of course there isn't.
Yeah, I mean,
it looks so funny.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It's very bizarre. I don't know what to make of it. They're trying to say this is the jellyfish UFO that we played the videos of that on the show a couple months ago.
Yeah,
they're trying to say this is what that is, and I don't know if I buy it. If I'm being honest,
me neither.
It's a really good fake. If it is fake,
it seems fake to me. Just this does, at least.
Yeah. So here's my question. So one, the person taking the camera either didn't notice this and took a photo of just a stop sign and caught this thing on the side, or they were taking a scenic shot. If this was actually caught on camera, the person would be focused on this part of the photo, right?
Right. Yeah.
But they're not. They're taking a picture of a building, like a little checkpoint next to a stop sign. That's
exactly
nothing.
So that's why I feel this has been inserted in.
I think so too.
Unless this is going really fast, right? Or was invisible to him at the time.
If it was going that fast, it'd be a blur though.
Yeah, maybe it was invisible to him, but not the picture.
Yeah, maybe.
Here it is. What's here? Oh no, I know that one. Oh yeah, and this thing from we covered this one too.
Yeah,
is that yeah? It was in Turkey.
Yeah,
that's a bizarre one. Could be balloons though too. It just looks like it.
Right.
Debunked. Here we go. You find the source. Oh. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, let's move on.
And this one also is a triangle craft.
Yeah, this one's pretty wild.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of this one, to be honest. So it's stabilized.
Mm-hmm. I see there's like lights around it too.
Yeah, so there's lights here and here and here in the triangle. And now this one left.
Yeah, I mean, this is Close Encounters, E.T. Yeah, this is such cool footage.
Now there's one on the side, one out.
Yeah, and they're talking about it.
Yeah, very weird. Very, very weird. I love it.
Flares. Yeah, so this is the original video. This is stabilized. That's good he stabilized it. Just how the lights look, though. I mean, it's very like it's coming to land, but then this middle thing is weird.
Yeah, I mean, this is the what's it, T3RB, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I mean, if there is one, that's what it is.
This is exactly what I expected to be like. Yeah,
like that black color, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. When are iPhones going to have like stabilized version? Like, you know, when you pull up your camera app,
yeah,
and you got all the different things you can slide to. I wonder if there's going to be a stabilized, thing you can select.
That would be cool. Phone. They should call it UFO mode.
Yeah, see, that's pretty wild.
Wow. But this thing here in the middle is a telltale sign.
Yeah, I mean, and all of the other triangle UFO craft that we've posted, it's the same thing. They've got that middle glowing section.
Yeah. Damn, that looks big too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quiet. All right. And then just remember this one.
Yeah, this is I hope everyone remembers like that huge thing that was going on in LA where it felt like every pilot that was flying into LAX was seeing a jetpack man.
I remember that.
Yeah, and this is very reminiscent of that. But this took place in it was Mexico, right?
This was in Mexico. Look at his
So
arms.
yeah, they're very strange. Mexico often, like a lot of the quote unquote UFO sightings I've seen online that come out of Mexico, it always, not always, it very often looks like a guy or a woman floating in the sky. In fact, there's a lot of, like, if you search Mexico UFO witch online, you'll see a lot of these.
Yeah.
They always refer to as a witch, but obviously the whole now popular thing, witches flying on brooms and they're in the sky. I mean, that's what these things kind of look like. But this is very reminiscent of
yeah,
Jetpack Man.
So the guy's saying it could be a jetpack, but the guy wasn't moving. It wasn't moving around like someone with a jetpack. It was just hovering or floating, and it didn't seem to make any noise. I mean, could this be a party balloon thing?
Yeah, or a lot of people thought Jetpack Man in LA was like a tire shop balloon. That was
yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
This could be something kind of similar. It looks like he's like making dinner or something.
But yeah, it looks like a robot making dinner. Oh
Yeah.
wait, he looks different here now.
Now he just looks like he's dancing.
Woo!
He's doing the Carlton.
Yeah. Might have been a balloon. All right. He speculated. It was just so weird to see this, especially so close to the airport.
Yeah, once again, UAPs love our planes.
That is a strange thing, huh?
Well, okay, so there's a theory I've heard about, and it kind of makes sense, but it's kind of dumb too at the same time. So let's say the actual craft they're flying in is also alive, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't they be, the craft itself, wouldn't that be interested in our flying craft?
Yeah,
Even though, of course, airplanes are not sentient, but if you're a extra dimensional being from another dimension, your whole being is, you've been created to fly other beings to places. You'd want to see the other craft,
Other flying
things that are again designed to flying beings to another place.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's pretty
Jack
wild.
Sarfati, I heard him yesterday, and he said that all these crafts are intelligent beings. The crafts themselves are.
It makes sense when you read about people's experiences with UFOs and how the actual UFO seems to interact with them.
Yeah. And just flying something like that, if it's really using whatever they're using, whatever physics they're using, it's going to need something like an AI to always be calculating where they are in space.
Yep.
And where they're going, and there's so much to think about.
Absolutely.
So cool. And then Arrow, you sent me this. They just posted on Twitter, even though I think it was an older one.
Yeah, but they actually seem like with new leadership, they're going to start caring about this.
It does look like that one. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be cool? Instead of them debunking stuff.
It's almost like our government should work for us.
Yeah.
I know how crazy that sounds, but that'd be nice.
But basically, Arrow sent this document to all military departments, telling them and instructing them how to handle crashed UAP debris, what to do with it, how to track it and how to classify it, or to make sure you have the right classifications, all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
See, look at that. CENTCOM, AFRICOM, EUCOM. So these are all around the world.
Yeah, yet to be seen if our military actually follows this guideline.
Yeah, this is just for us to look at. Say, oh look, they have a new head honcho now, don't they? Perhaps he's going to actually do the job.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I guess a new report should be coming out soon, so that's when we'll know.
Yeah, Only time will tell, just like with all these things.
Oh, I didn't see this episode yet, but reality check: UAP researchers' work catches attention of FBI.
That's always a good sign. Government working against itself. Great.
So I definitely want to watch this interview. I think it's out already. This is just a summary of it.
Researchers, twin brothers were both electrical engineers, and their research into UFOs and UAPs has caught the eye and attention of the federal government now. News Nation's Ross Coldhar sat down with them to talk about some of the most fascinating UAPs that they've ever caught on camera on his latest episode of News Nation's Reality Check.
A cylindrical object passes right beside an aircraft at speed during the day. It's a very clear image. And the slow-mo at around about 49 seconds shows how close it came to the aircraft. I held my breath when I saw this because I thought, one, you've captured a tic-tac, and two, it's right beside an aircraft. I'm not surprised that Homeland Security and FBI and other agencies are interested in your work.
Yeah, really close call there. Just scan the QR code on your screen to watch that episode. But News Nation special correspondent Ross Coldhart joins me now live this morning. Good morning to you, Ross. Tell me more about these brothers, John and Jerry Tedesco. I hope I'm saying that right, because they turned research into cancer clusters on Long Island into a search for UFOs. And I'm trying to make the connection here.
Well, g'day, Marky. Nice to talk to you. What happened was they were looking at cancer clusters because they'd had friends who'd passed, and they were interested in using their science skills as trained engineers to try to study for contaminants in the air. And they built a vehicle, a mobile laboratory with cameras and detection gear. But while they were doing their building, the ODNI, the Director of National Intelligence, came out with their report on UAPs. And so John and Jerry decided to look at UAPs instead, UFOs. And they located themselves off Long Island, standing on a beach on Long Island, looking out into the air corridor that's probably one of the busiest air corridors in the United States. The approach and
you're freezing this video.
Yeah, what's it doing there?
Can you back it up 15 seconds or so?
Route for JFK coming into New York. And what they have captured is absolutely astonishing. Good citizen science has captured objects that they believe are demonstrably some kind of non-human intelligence, possibly. And they certainly believe that whatever these objects are, they're responding intelligently, and they're not behaving in a normal way like a plane or any other object that could explain them prosaically.
Well, whatever they have captured, I mean, the government is now taking them seriously. They've landed on the FBI's radar. How did that come about?
Well, they've been publicising their work, and in fact, they've just achieved the impossible. They've managed to get a peer-reviewed paper published in a proper science journal about UAPs, which is quite momentous. And the FBI, we're not meant to know this, but the FBI and indeed apparently Homeland Security are quietly taking an interest in UAPs at the moment. No help at all, I think, from Arrow, the Pentagon's investigations. They seem to have gone dead on the issue at the moment. But the FBI is taking the issue seriously, and they've been in touch with the Tedescos, and I know they're very interested, and quite reasonably so too, because if these objects like that tic-tac are coming as close as they do appear to have come to a passenger aircraft, that's an issue of concern. That's a flight safety concern and a potential national security concern, which is exactly what the Director of National Intelligence said it was back in 2021.
Just about a minute left, Ross. I know these twins are electrical engineers. I imagine that's how, they used those skills to kind of trick out this UFO, mobile unit, if you will. How are they using their skills, in this kind of new way?
One of the things they've been able to do, and I really take my hat off to them, they're both retired men, but they've spent a lot of their retirement savings on buying top-of-the-line cameras, including one called a hyperspectral camera. And in some cases, they've been filming objects using a camera that can only see those objects with its sensors. And these are objects that would be blind to the human eye and blind to a normal camera. And they're seeing objects moving intelligently, often glowing orbs coming in from the ocean. There's a lovely sequence where an orb is hiding behind a sign, and it pops out from behind the sign 3 times.
Oh yeah, we're playing it here.
As if it's doing a peekaboo.
Wow.
A peekaboo.
It's extraordinary. What an experience. Maybe you should ride along with them in this.
I think they're dating.
Mobile unit, this mobile lab sometime.
I would love to.
Would love to see that. Ross Coldheart, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you for that.
I wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers.
Yeah, he wouldn't either. See how he started that? He was all like high pitched.
He looks very happy.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, so nice to see you.
That UAP next to the airplane was pretty wild.
Yeah, and that's why I'm sure the HS is like, well, what the hell is this thing? Yeah, cool stuff. I haven't heard about those guys.
I haven't either.
So yeah, I'm definitely gonna look them up and see what they have on this mobile UFO unit that they have.
Oh, now this is right up my alley. So this is a tweet from Grant Cameron at Grant Cameron. Tim Taylor, he says, with more than 40 patents, with more than 40 patents on receiving the signal. Apparently, DNA and hair are the antennae.
Yeah. And Tim Taylor is in American Cosmic. He's that guy she calls, I think, Tim.
So he says humans are a type of satellite, in fact. So in order to receive the signals and to transmit the signals, we have to tune our physical bodies and DNA. Because of this, I make sure I sleep for 8 hours, wake up, and then make myself go back to bed for an hour. All right, bragging. That 1 hour, the top off, really makes or breaks my day. This is just health advice.
Yes. Well, yeah, and how to, again,
he says he barely drinks alcohol, doesn't drink coffee, wants to be in the sun. I mean, this is the new age health stuff that a lot of people are talking about. You know, like Joe Rogan always says, you have to go stand in grass, connect to the earth.
Grounding.
Yeah. He drinks water. Okay, so this is just him giving health advice.
Yeah, and he's saying, he drinks water instead of coffee in the sun. And then he goes, at this point, I can feel the connection. I know I've established connection when the thoughts that show up in my mind don't seem like my own. They are unfamiliar. With practice, you can feel a difference. So this guy has done all these patents. He has no idea where they come from. There's that one section in the book Cosmic where he sits in front of this machine or something at NASA. He goes in this room, and that's where he comes up with all these ideas and he patents them.
No kidding.
He's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah.
And cool.
Speaking of quotes, I thought Carl Sagan was a debunker.
Well, he was for the Betty and Barney Hill case. It always makes me really mad, where she came back with knowledge about the star chart, and he looked at it and said, "Oh, this could be anything."
Yeah, and he's the one who says extraordinary claims require evidence. So I don't know what book this is taken from. Richard Geldrick here.
Let's read the quote. The statement made by Dr. Carl Sagan, advisor on extraterrestrial life to the armed services, might be a clue as to one reason Americans are racing to get to the moon, says Edward. So this was written a while ago. The author quotes Sagan as saying that, in quotes, mankind must be prepared to face the probability that we have already been visited by intelligent beings from elsewhere in the universe, and that they have or have had bases on the averted side of our moon. And then in parentheses, Russia has already sent 2 rockets to the moon to photograph the dark side. Edwards cites other odd occurrences taking place on the moon. In 1963, 4 prominent American astronomers. Excuse me, hold on. Been a long Sunday. 1963, 4 prominent American astronomers detected 2 clusters of bright red lights north of the crater Herodotus. A month later, the red spots had vanished and were clustered in an oval formation along the south rim of the crater. Why do they have to name these things so weird?
Aristarchus.
Thank you. Edwards says that something very powerful indeed is the driving force behind our frenzied effort to reach the moon. He said that Dr. Sagan's suggestion about our moon being used as a base, in quotes, might explain why the UFOs appear with such a short time after we do something spectacular. Edwards concludes by assuming that if the moon does contain a base, then our hurried efforts to get there are logical, and Russia's concern with the averted side is understandable.
Interesting, huh? Like basically whoever got there first. I read that recently too. I forget where now, but that apparently whoever got there first, that's who the aliens would deal with.
Yeah, very, very much so. For those of you who haven't yet, check out AJ over at the WWII Files. He's got a full episode on why the moon is weird. One of the things that is well documented and not like trying to be covered up by the government is that one of the craters on the moon like shines bright blue light sometimes. Yeah, it's one of those weird things where there's no real explanation for it.
Yeah, the moon has so many anomalies, like structures seen there, things that are like
hollow.
like towers. That's hollow. Exactly. That's
not, again, the hollow thing is not, as a lot of people want to think, some weird fringe conspiracy theory. It's a real thing. They crashed stuff into the moon and it rang like a bell.
Yep, NASA tested it. Exactly. It rang like a bell for like an hour or something.
Yeah,
the size of it, the material on top should be in the bottom. So
I was just about to say that. Yeah, the stuff on top is older than the stuff below, or is it the other way around?
Something where basically it was dug out.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of how Earth rocks or soil, operate.
Yeah, and that it's huge. It's it's one of the biggest moons in the solar system.
And it's spherical. I mean, that's a weird thing because if you look at the moons at other planets in the solar system, they're not. It's very rare to find a spherical moon. I mean, you look at like Phobos of Mars.
Yeah,
potato.
Yeah, exactly. It does look like a potato.
Yeah,
it's just a deformed rock, and just the space it is between us and the sun, where it makes a perfect eclipse.
Well, if you had watched the WWII Files episode about the moon, you'd know that it's not a perfect eclipse. It's almost perfect.
Almost perfect. Okay, yeah, where we still see the rings of fire, right?
Yeah.
And that there was also cultures back in the day that talked about the days before the moon, basically saying that wasn't always there.
Yep.
So yeah, lots of weird things about it. There's a great book out there called "Who Built the Moon" as well. That's a great book.
I love it.
Yeah.
There was also a really terrible movie called Moonfall. I don't recommend anyone go watch it, but it's about Hollow Moon and what happens if the moon crashes into Earth. Terrible movie. But it's by the guy that did Independence Day, and so everyone was like, "Oh, this should be good," but no. It was terrible. I mean, go ahead and watch it.
I saw the trailer. It looked terrible.
It's got some fun sci-fi concepts in it, but it's really not that good.
I mean, the moon, if we didn't have the moon, it'd wreak havoc on this planet. Right?
I mean, it controls our tides, and people can't write songs about it being a big pizza pie.
And the crops.
Yeah.
What happens to the crops?
We wouldn't have like those cool new age witches that worship the moon.
No, we wouldn't.
I want to meet one of them. I think we'd hit it off.
Really? You want to be messing with witches?
Oh, hell yeah.
I guess you could use them for to attain wealth and power.
It would also provide really good content. I could be like, my witch girlfriend told me the moon is in harvest this month. I have no idea what I'm saying. And so we should invest all of our stock into Facebook.
Oh man, Facebook Meta. So this is Del Toro.
Incredible director.
So he saw a UFO, and he says here that it was, quote, horribly designed.
Everyone's a critic.
You also sent a video. We can watch the video.
Yeah, I'd say let's skip the article and watch the video. Although the video, I don't think he even says it's terribly designed. I think it kind of says the opposite. Let's watch the video.
Okay. Let me key that up.
About 15 or 16. A friend and I, we didn't consume it, but we bought a six-pack. We didn't consume it.
Sure. Now, this is where the story falls apart. You know that.
We went to a highway, and we said, we're going to sit on the highway, drink the beer, watch the stars, and talk. And we were on the way on the highway, and we saw a light in the horizon that was moving non-linearly. It was going, really fast, and up and all across the horizon. We were the only car in the freeway. And we stopped the car, and we came out of the car, and I said, honk and flash your highlights. And my friend honked and flashed the highlights, and it went from being there to being like 500 meters away from us, like in less than a second. And it was badly designed. If I was making this up, I would describe the UFO as something inventive, but it was a flying saucer.
Fire the designer.
A flying saucer with lights that went around like this.
Man.
I'm serious. I'm so sorry, Jim. And
you realize how disappointing that is?
It's very disappointing. And I cannot describe the fear I felt. I've never felt anything like it. I didn't feel, I felt awe maybe for a second. And then I felt a fear that was like I was a dog in front of a tank.
Yeah.
And we climbed in the car and screaming, we said, push the pedal, like all the way. And I looked back, and the UFO was following us. And I looked back again, and it was gone. And that was it.
They were laughing.
They were laughing.
The guys up there in the UFO, they'd already opened their beers. They were laughing. You see, we
scared the two fat kids. When that was,
yeah, I don't think he's not saying it's horribly designed as in like it's chunky or weird looking. It's just horribly designed as in it's very stereotypical, I think is what he's saying there. Because it was circular and it had a ring of lights,
Yeah, I say it's a bit weird to think that a real UFO could seem derivative compared to the Hollywood versions that dominate the popular imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. Yep.
So I mean, he's with the director of Alien, first of all, and he's mocking it, which makes no sense. Spielberg did the same thing when he was interviewed too. He would mock the subject, which why would they do that? I mean, they make such good movies about the.
You have to realize that even these interviews here, this is not off the cuff. They're scripted just as much as a movie is.
True.
They're told what to say and how to say it.
Right.
It's the same thing when you watch, anytime you're waiting for like a big, nowadays it's always superhero movies, and you see the actors being interviewed before the movie comes out. It's a script.
Yeah.
They're acting as much as they are in those interviews as they are in the movie. You have to remember that.
So cheesy, but so true. So
the Queen, I didn't know this.
Yeah. Queen Elizabeth's love for UFOs revealed.
Nice.
It's another new documentary sheds light on the royal family's interest in this subject. Now, if you were a royal, especially a British royal with an empire that big, you would be interested in UFOs.
Yeah, and also apparently interested in raping little kids. But
yeah, of course.
That's for another time. That's for another documentary.
And you think they'd steal those kids for the aliens as sacrifice?
It sure seems that way. With all the talk about adrenochrome, I mean, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, and there has been more evidence coming out. I saw the other day of the current king.
Oh, good. Yeah, he's definitely not a total creep.
Oh no! You see that painting of him? It looks like
we covered it on the show, I think.
Yeah, yes, we did. So this is on Amazon Prime called "The King of UFOs." Claimed the late monarch was so keen on paranormal activities that she sent her senior advisors to find out the truth about one of the crop circle formations in England in the middle of the night.
You know, there was another dictator in Europe. I can't remember his name. He had a very small mustache.
Yeah.
He caused a lot of trouble in the 40s. He was also obsessed with things like this.
He was, and a lot of his scientists were that we brought over here.
Yeah. Ended up being on the wrong side of history, so you don't really get to hear about that fun stuff he was interested in.
Herman Oberth, one of the physicists we brought over, said that we've been helped by people of other worlds. That was a quote from him.
Interesting.
So the documentary also shared that her late husband, Prince Philip, like her, was interested in the subject as both looked for answers to these strange appearances. Colin Andrews, a crop circle researcher, told the director Mark Christopher that he was investigating one of these occurrences in Wiltshire with a team of Japanese. During their search, he said he came to know the Queen was keen to know what was going on, and for this, hence her chief scientist advisor showed up at the place. That's crazy.
Another great, not to keep promoting a different podcast other than the one you're listening to, but the Y Files does a really good episode about crop circles and how even though everyone thinks they're debunked, they're not debunked. The two guys that they said were responsible for all these different crop circles were clearly lying because they couldn't reproduce them, and they said they were pole vaulting into fields, not leaving any tracks. Which
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's go ahead and rewatch that episode. It's fantastic. He covers.
It is a good episode.
He covers all the stupid stuff involved with crop circles, and weirdly enough, as a huge shock to everyone, the CIA is also involved there.
What a shock, huh?
Yeah,
and MI5.
Totally bizarre.
So, in another instance, the ex-CID detective John Hansen said the Rendlesham incident in 1980 fascinated the late royal couple, where an alleged UFO landing occurred in the Suffolk village. Weighing in on this, Mark remarked, "What I wanted to show in this film is how passionate and serious the senior royals were on the subject of UFOs."
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice.
I mean, I would have. I mean, if you're a royal and you think you're at the top of the pyramid, right?
Most definitely.
And something comes up to you like is way more powerful and probably way more wealthier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, but the UK government keeps it a secret, just like ours.
Oh yeah, which means they're getting something out of it.
Right. Exactly. This is also in the UK. This is on the Daily Star.
Police reveal the past 10 years of UFO sightings, and there's a full list of every town, in quotes, visited. Police officers were forced to release their UFO records after they received a Freedom of Information request, which detailed strange sightings and naked abductions.
Of course, naked.
As opposed to clothed abductions.
Yeah, what is that called? Clothed CMNP? Is that no?
I was making a joke. I didn't realize it was a real thing.
Oh yeah, CMNF.
All right.
Oh wait,
I'll take your word for it.
All right, so police have released every reported UFO sighting for the past 10 years with unexpected locations. This was the first time this information was released to the public, with several unexpected reports showing shocking locals. It follows a Freedom of Information request where the force had to publish reports mentioning UFOs, UAP, aliens, and more.
Wow.
So here's the first log. Oh, 10 years. So that'll be to 2014. All right. So they don't go that far back. This one, the first log, took place on September 11th, 2016, and detailed a scary experience where an alien entered someone's home. The report said someone saw a UFO from the sky before an alien entered their front room to interact with them.
Oh, boy.
That's weird.
Yeah, very weird.
I wonder if you're the cop taking that report. You're like, okay, have a good night.
Oh, God. They're on meth again.
Yeah, reports on what happened or why the alien entered were not available. It is thought the report was brief and was taken no further than the initial interaction.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And here's another one. That same month, a woman said she was abducted by aliens in Salisbury. The police logged the report, but did not take the investigation any further. Following that, there were a quiet 3 years with no incidents before another report was logged.
Oh boy.
I think this one.
Yeah. This time the event took place in Chipperham. Aliens seem to be rife in the Southwest, just like they are here in the U.S., with another abduction in the cards. This time, however, the man was naked. Just 6 months later, another UFO sighting. UFO was sighted in Townbridge. Following that, Chippenham had another strange sighting. This time, is not. Another really weirdly worded article.
Oh, come on, Daily Star. Come on.
It was not so much a sighting as much as it was a hearing. It simply stated ex-friend talking about aliens. What the hell does that mean?
How is that even a police report? They basically called on someone saying that he's talking to aliens.
You have to remember the UK is a it's a police state.
Well, yeah, especially if they're arresting people with Facebook posts.
Right. So if you're a government's lover, you're going to report your friend for talking about aliens. While reports were logged, it is not known. No, you scroll down. It is not known that Wiltshire police did to ensure civilians were safe from supposed alien invasions. The country itself is known for numerous crop circles and appears to be a hotspot for alien sightings. It had the most crop circles in England in 2023. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. And Honey Street near Pewsey is the home of the Crop Circle Center. The British government released a report in 2009 about UFO sightings, which mentions Wiltshire 16 times. Go ahead and watch that. Go ahead and watch that Crop Circle episode of the WWII Files. It really is something else.
Some of those crop circles are huge.
It'll change your opinion on crop circles because they're leaving messages, and the things that are left in crop circles are not open to the to the global public. So the fact that they're leaving messages like that is absolutely bizarre.
It is bizarre. And there's some of those things are so intricate and so large, and there's no way someone could have done it overnight.
Yeah, the one with the alien face and the message in binary is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and it was next to the Arecibo telescope or wherever our message came from.
Yep. Absolutely nuts.
So, there's a new Netflix documentary set to unravel bizarre mystery of greatest alien abduction case ever seen. I guess it's in Manhattan. I never heard of this one either.
I mean, we've covered a lot of bizarre. I mean, Betty and Barney Hill is the gold standard. That's a great case. I'm partial to the Betty and Dreesen abduction case. We've also covered the Del Coronado Hotel abduction.
That's a cool one.
That's a very
the Allagash one is cool.
Allagash was great. That I had no prior knowledge of, weirdly enough. But Allagash was amazing.
So thank you again. Manhattan.
Thank you again to the listener who provided that. That was a really fun episode.
Yeah, exactly. I love to learn about new ones. It had so much evidence and
much evidence.
Yeah, pretty much undeniable.
All right, so this is a great one. An upcoming documentary is set to shed light on the mysterious tale of a Manhattan housewife and mom of two who claims she was abducted by a UFO in the late 80s. The docuseries, titled The Manhattan Alien Abduction, tells the story of Linda,
Napolitano.
Thank you, who was convinced she was abducted from her bedroom in New York on November 30th, 1989. Oh, wait, no, I have heard of this one.
Weird.
It is bizarre because if I remember, if this is the one I'm thinking of, two other people saw it.
That is this one.
The trailer released online. It contains interviews with her, yada, yada, yada. Okay, cool. In quotes, they saw me hanging from my window. Napolitano says in the trailer as the footage flashes between the Brooklyn Bridge and enactments featuring a woman. It doesn't matter. So this is the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, this one is really bizarre. The two people that witnessed her being abducted, I'm pretty sure were Secret Service for the president at the time.
What? You are kidding me.
No, if I'm remembering correctly.
Wow.
I don't know why they're keeping it from the public, but we're not alone, another voice says. So this is just documenting the trailer.
Yeah.
Bud Hopkins believed her story. We've talked about Bud Hopkins before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Many times. So yeah, that was the whole controversy. Is they said this woman was lying and a master manipulator, and Bud Hopkins fell for it. But other people saw her being abducted, man.
Right. So where is that? The article had noted that Hopkins reported that he had received a letter from security agents signed only Richard and Dan, who claimed to have seen a figure floating in the night sky.
Yeah. Yep.
In the note, they reportedly said, "We can't live with ourselves for not sharing what we saw." Wow.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure I'm correct that they were Secret Service people. But yeah, because they kept sending anonymous notes because they didn't want to lose their jobs.
Richard and Dan said they saw 3 strange figures and a young woman in a white gown floating through an apartment window and then transported to a UFO.
Oh wait, here it is, right here. There have been suggestions that the political figure for the bodyguards. Yeah, okay, so they were protecting may have been Javier. Okay, so they weren't U.S. Secret Service.
United
So
Nations.
they were protecting Javier Perez de Cuellar,
yeah.
the Secretary General of the United Nations at the time. Okay, so my memory is not that bad.
No, good job. However, he has never confirmed his involvement. Well, he's not going to know.
No,
yeah,
he's a global government figure. He's not allowed to talk about that.
Exactly. New York housewife taken by aliens. That's scary. Right through her window.
Yeah. Right? How nuts.
Oh, that is so nuts. And yeah, I mean, Bud Hopkins, people have issues with him, but he's done amazing research for abductions. Is this the trailer? Let me press play.
Yeah, let's watch it.
Wow.
They saw me hanging outside my window in a beam of light.
There were 23 witnesses.
I thought it was a move. Special effects. I don't know why they're keeping it from the public, but we're not alone.
It would become the greatest abduction case ever seen.
But was there any evidence that this thing had actually happened? I moved to Manhattan to make a film about alien abduction with my husband, Bud Hopkins.
The existence of an extraordinary phenomenon demands an extraordinary investigation.
Bud believed that she was very, very credible, and the audience loved her.
When people hear this, do they tell you you're nuts?
I'll tell you, Jay, I wish I was psychotic. At least there's treatment for that.
Linda is simply telling the truth. It's as easy as that.
She was pulling the wool over Bud's eyes.
How could she say the things she said after what my family and I went through?
What do you want from me?
1, we're going to end all this. 2, we're moving back now. You're not dying. 3.
You'd have to be a sociopath or a genius to commit a hoax like this.
To me, it began to seem almost too perfect.
After a while, I started to get paranoid. And not just about aliens.
Keep coming.
This is mind-blowing.
How could Linda possibly be orchestrating this enormous hoax if that's what it is? How do we know what's real?
It's not easy to believe, let's face it. But these aliens, if they want you, they're going to get you.
I will continue to ask questions, Linda. And I won't stop doing that.
Bring it on.
Pretty cool. Netflix is bringing out some nice stuff. Is the new Unsolved Mysteries? They did a new Roswell episode.
Very nice. Yeah, I still haven't watched that yet, but I'm going to.
It's cool. Yeah, it's very cool. What else do we have? Liberation Times came out with a good article about the UAP Disclosure Act. The title is UAP Secrecy, the Magician's Democracy, and Our Managed Reality.
Ooh.
Great title there.
Yeah.
And he starts with a quote by Eisenhower about the military-industrial complex. the warning that he gave the American people, and basically that's the world we are in right now.
Yep.
An unelected, right, elite scientific, technological elite. He called them scientific and technological elite.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
That's what the WWII is.
Very nicely. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Here we go. Unelected bureaucrats, and so he talks. It's a great article for people who are just getting into this, because there's always new people coming into this, especially with Elizondo going on his media tour and did a pretty good job there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he lays out the case why it's so important to our democracy.
No, you cut out there.
Just festered in. Did my internet?
Yeah, you're cutting out. You were about to say you're in the middle of the word democracy, and then you cut out.
That's crazy. Yeah, I was speaking, so my internet cut out. That's happening a lot lately.
It is,
or more than usual, right?
They're on to us, man. The powers that be.
Here come the black, the black cars,
black SUVs with the black hoods and the zip ties they throw on you.
Well, if I go missing for a few days, you know where I am. And I will only say this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no, you meant you've got by the government. Yeah, no.
Yes. And I will only say, where's my lawyer? I'm not going to say a word.
Yeah, good. That's what you're supposed to do until they, decide that you're a threat to national security, and then they can just do whatever they want to you.
Yeah, then I'll be gone forever.
I'll start
in Guantanamo.
Off. Yeah, fun stuff.
So yeah, basically we must demand transparency to fix the corruption we have in government, and lifting this veil is probably a good step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Last week, Liberation Times released the USO news. Oh, I sent this to you.
Yeah.
And you always said to bring them back.
I think blimps would be super cool, man.
Yeah, they really looked awesome.
The Shenandoah was the first rigid airship to moor to a floating mast, such as the U.S. Navy devised and installed on the tanker Patoka.
Look how stable it just sits there, huh? That's really cool. It's not like the wind is making it move or anything.
All on the tanker Patoka. Another of her pioneering ventures was a 9,000-mile trip in the fall of 1924 around the periphery of the United States by way of mooring masts at Fort Worth, Texas, San Diego, California, and Fort Lewis, Washington. The Graf Zeppelin was the first to be put in service September 1928.
Wow.
The Graf didn't use gasoline. Instead, her 5 Maybach engines were driven by biogas, a hydrocarbon fuel gas of about the same density as air. Time out in 1929 for a world cruise, not just as a stunt, but with a payload of 6,000 pounds in passengers, mail, and baggage. Lakehurst to Friedrichshafen.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, now your audio. Here we go. It froze for a little bit there.
To Los Angeles.
So wait, are they refueling or not? I guess I don't know what gas. Okay, so they refuel for the engines.
Yeah, but I mean, imagine a cruise ship, but it's in the air. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that idea. I think it's cool, even though I think I'm scared of heights. I haven't been up high in a dangerous situation in a long time. I don't know how I'd react now, but
yeah, I don't think you feel it though. Like planes, once they're up, you don't really feel anything.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I have no problem with planes at all. In fact, I love flying by plane.
So Tokyo to Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
This is in the 20s. Yeah, his voice is Los Angeles
To Lakers.
and back to Lakers.
This
Lakehurst is where?
Lakehurst isn't a big city. I don't even know where Lakehurst is. I've never heard of it.
Here's the record.
22,000 miles. Total time 21 days. Damn.
Hell yeah, that's cruise time, baby.
So 9 days, 20 hours.
Yeah, I mean that's a week and a half vacation. Well, less than a half, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. But they can carry
This
6,000 pounds.
outstanding record achieved with no casualties, not even an injury,
Huh.
or air sickness. Comfort is one of the rigid airship's greatest contributions. Accommodations would include staterooms,
Really?
promenade decks,
Yeah.
lounges,
See, that's what I'm saying.
library,
Yeah. So it is like a cruise
restaurant,
ship. Oh, damn.
and bar.
That's so much
Unique.
cooler. That's so
Yeah.
much cooler.
And the fun
Yeah.
thing about this, like a cruise ship can sink and you slowly drown and it's terrible. If this thing crashes, you die immediately. So that's a
Oh,
huge
yeah.
plus.
Agreed. The quicker the better.
Yeah.
You don't want to drown and then freeze.
And if they use helium, it's flame retardant, so it's not going to explode.
What's this? Oh yes, Japan. Japan emergency press conference.
Yeah, we
highlight.
can't put this on the show because this our episode will get taken down by YouTube, but we're going to do it anyway.
Yes, we are. And I did take training because of that warning we got.
Oh, good.
And we're not saying anything here. We are reporting on what Japan is saying.
Yeah, that's not going to stop YouTube. But right, we have no opinions on this. This is an objective. We found an article online and we're putting it on the show. It is not aligned with our views. We are just saying that this is something in the news right now.
Yeah, and that people should should pay attention.
Japan's emergency press conference highlights urgent concerns about the mRNA replicon vaccine approval. It's a massacre. By the beginning of next month, that it's a massacre thing came from the article. By the beginning of next month, Japan has a potential to trigger a worldwide disaster.
That's scary. So they're raising the alarms about the mRNA vaccines. They've obviously seen some patterns that they're not comfortable with. So here they tell us what mRNA is, but let's see the conclusions. I guess here is the issue. Here we go. She meant this. So here's the issue. In a study published in Cell, which is right here at ScienceDirect.com, she mentions scientists looked at how something similar to the replicon mRNA vaccine worked when put into cells. They found that the vaccine parts kept increasing inside the cells. Then when liquid from these cells, which contained tiny particles, was put onto new cells, the vaccine components spread and moved into these new cells too. This happens because the first cells release little particles called extracellular vessels, which include exosomes. These particles can carry stuff like the parts of the vaccine from one cell to another. In people, these exosomes are found in things like tears, snot, saliva, and sweat. This means there's a chance that the vaccine parts could pass to other people through bodily fluids.
Nice.
So they're asking us, don't kiss the vaccinated. Is that what they're saying?
Well, who knows? I feel like they've done a great job of muddying the waters, right? So
yeah.
Do you stay away from vaccinated people? Do you stay away from unvaccinated people? You know, there's no right answer, and they're doing a great job of doing that just to keep people scared.
So here's a quote from a member of parliament in Japan. He says, "This self-replicating immune agent scheduled to start regular vaccinations from October 1st, 2024 ought to be halted, and I strongly advocate for this action."
Yeah, but he's a racist or a sexist or something, right?
Yeah, exactly, because it's the China virus.
Yeah.
So he wants to ensure thorough investigation and verification to provide relief to mRNA vaccine victims who have suffered significant harm.
Can't we just call it Myrna?
Myrna,
and hopefully people know what we're talking about. We've got MRSA. We've got MRSA.
Myrna. I like that. But at the same time, this came out from Disclosed.tv in Sweden.
Pathologist warns about corona vaccines. This Myrna technology has not been sufficiently tested. Our author worked as a senior physician in the clinical pathology at several Swedish clinics. Since the corona vaccinations, she has observed a new type of turbo cancer. The fun
This
kind.
episode's getting deleted.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Well, hopefully, people hear this before it gets deleted.
Look at that. Strange cancer cases increased in 2021, which is around that same time that the Myrna was
introduced. Yeah.
Yes, on a mass scale.
In the fall of 2021, I noticed a change in the occurrence of breast cancer in my routine work at the hospital. I saw tumors in younger patients more often than usual, often between 30 and 50 years old. And I saw more aggressively growing tumors and thus larger tumors. There was an increased incidence of not just one, but several tumors in one breast at the same time. Breast cancer also seemed to occur more frequently in both breasts at the same time. I also noticed that there seemed to be more relapses in patients who had previously been cured of breast cancer. This was a case of very aggressive tumor growth with very rapid tumor spread throughout the body, which occurred repeatedly a few months after the corona vaccination. Yikes.
Man, that's so scary.
Not good.
Siphonophores.
This actually makes me sick, but we should play it. So our oceans are largely undiscovered. Like, we haven't traveled much of our ocean depths, and so we keep finding new things. This is one of the more terrifying things I've ever seen in my life. I think this is, if I remember correctly from the post, this is only the second one that's been found.
Yeah. And can you explain what it is?
Yeah, essentially this is a bunch of deep sea organisms that have kind of created a very tight-knit community where they all have their own function, but they function as one.
So it's like different body parts, but then
it's different
being in the same body.
organisms. Like, it's different organisms, but they've somehow got jumbled together. They're all individuals, but they all also are working to keep the colony, this whole thing, alive.
This thing is a colony. Oh my god! It's like when you make kombucha, you get these things.
Sure. Yeah, I hate this. I really do.
This is your nightmare.
This is why I'm not an ocean person. I don't like the ocean. It scares me.
No eyes, nothing.
No, it's just it's like imagine a cruise ship or a blimp, but there's multiple blimps put together, and there's a bunch of airplanes stuck to the sides, and a bunch of hot air balloons attached to that as well. It's a bunch of these different things, but they all function to keep the colony alive. I hate it. That first one scares me the most.
That one's from 1991. This one's from 1991.
Yeah, I hate it.
It looks very similar to this one, huh? 2015.
Yeah, I don't like it. I really don't like it. Anyway, fun stuff to scare you all to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it's called a siphonophore, and it's a collection of different types of organisms that are all integrated into a single colony. Each organism has its own job in keeping the entire colony alive. The most commonly known siphonomore is the Portuguese man of war. However, in the deep ocean, siphonophores are much more diverse and unique, such as the ones in the video. This one holds the scientific name. I'm not even going to try that. It's a very Latin name. Also, they are not tiny. They can be several meters long, and other versions have been recorded in string form 150 feet long. Forget that.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
But also, I did not know the man of war was several different organisms. I thought it was just a big jellyfish.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Oh,
I have to find this on archive.org because it was
on the way back. Yeah, this is really interesting. I've seen versions of this article last week a couple times. The first one I saw is they were firing
Photons.
They were putting light through protons, electrons,
Photons.
and they were seeing that the light exited before it entered, and then this came up. Evidence of, in quotes, negative time found in quantum physics experiment. And as we know, quantum physics, forget about it. No one,
exactly.
despite what you might hear, no one is an expert in this field.
Yeah, so I still didn't. I mean, I read through this and I still didn't get it. But they did measure that when it entered at the negative time.
Yeah, I mean the light was leaving the photon field earlier than it was entering, which is just, I can't even wrap my head around that.
Yeah, I mean, they're calling a negative time delay may seem paradoxical, but what it means is that if you built a quantum clock to measure how much time atoms are spending in the excited state, the clock hand would, under certain circumstances, move backward rather than forward, Sinclair says. In other words, the time in which the photons were absorbed by atoms is negative.
Even though this doesn't make any sense to me, even though the phenomenon is astonishing, it has no impact on our understanding of time itself, but it does not illustrate once again that the quantum world still has surprises in store. Basically, if you go down to a low enough level, stuff stops making sense.
Yes, and especially time, because there's no time there.
Right.
It's all probabilities.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you always hear in science fiction movies and books, where time is a human construct, and it is. I mean, that's how we measure our lifespan. That's how we measure our crops, how we measure days and stuff. But when you back up and you look at the universe on a universal scale, time,
or even galactic scale,
time stops meaning anything. I mean, think about it. You know, they always talk about. I was just watching this fictional show the other day, and they were talking about how long human life has lasted. If you convert the history of Earth from its conception to where we are now, and you converted that into a day, humankind would be half a second of
nothing.
Of Earth's history. It's nothing, completely nothing.
I don't know why, but that just reminded me of Hitchhiker's Guide. There's that one civilization that think they live on God's snot or something like that, or the great Achu, which is the great sneeze.
Bless you, and they say bless you. Like that's great.
That's such a great book. So weird stuff. I mean, I still don't get it.
I don't. I don't either. It's just know.
I just know quantum is weird. Yeah,
quantum is weird. Our universe is a lot stranger than people would have you believe.
Very mysterious. So who knows what's going to come out of this? They said their results raised interesting questions about the history of photons traveling through absorptive media and necessitate a reinterpretation of the physical meaning of the group delay in optics. All right, so that's what they're going to change, apparently.
This, for some reason, I feel like this is the beginning of time travel.
Time travel, yeah. If they're able to do negative time with physical objects and with light, yeah, something's there.
Yeah.
And this also came out last week. An EV with unlimited driving range has been demonstrated.
Oh, that's good.
So you still have to have it charged, but then once you have it charged, if you add these devices to your EV, and it'll just keep going.
Fantastic.
It'll keep being recharged. Yeah, I don't understand how this thing works either. But they did a real test, and they went around using this car here. It's called the ECAT.
Oh, a quadricycle. That's fun. So it's a four-wheeler.
Yeah, fully electric quadricycle.
It's a four-wheeler with a roof on it.
Really tiny, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool. I mean, that they have these things are allowed to come out now, which is strange.
Very strange. They'll put some limits on it though. Like they'll say to save our environment, you can only drive 2 hours a day or some bullshit like that.
I wouldn't put it past them. Just any reason to control us. Yeah, because you can go anywhere with this if it's unlimited.
Right.
And large EVs would need more ECAT. Okay, so they're called ECAT units.
Huh.
That's what you'd install for these things to work.
All right.
How real is this? Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence is an aphorism popularized by scientist Carl Sagan, and it applies here. The question then is who made the measurements of the vehicles and who was in attendance to validate the entire demonstration? So, yeah, they go through that. It was validated. And lots of scientists watched this, and it has been validated.
Interesting.
So
very interesting.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, yeah, see here they talk about that plug-in hybrids are more popular than just electric vehicles. Those sales have not taken off despite all the Teslas we see on the road because it's just not as reliable as a plug-in hybrid. You want to fall back on something if you can't charge, right?
Right.
So with these things, it will definitely help electric vehicle sales if you don't have to worry about charging it.
So you just have to charge it once? Like you take it home, you charge it once, and then it just drives forever.
Yeah, because it uses the battery already, but then these ECAT devices will keep creating energy to recharge it.
Very interesting.
I know, right? Here are the results. But I don't think that tells us how it works. The Twizy technically fully quadricycle. Yeah, it's not telling us how the ECAT system works.
No, of course not. They don't want us amateur UFOologists creating this thing in our garage.
Right. The Twizy continued around the track for another 4 hours until the demo was called. Yeah, so the one that without the ECAT, the charge was depleted. The ones with the ECAT just kept going.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we actually get to see something good come out of this, but I doubt it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we almost every week we report on something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, going into politics and
joy,
which we should talk about because our planet is just on the verge of World War III, and who knows what's going to happen. Apparently, these activists in the UK sabotaged Teledyne factory in Wirral, England, where components for missiles and F-35s are produced for Israel. 3 actionists were arrested after they disrupted the clean room where the F-35 components are made. A senior Teledyne manager was quoted as saying that the contamination of the clean room could stop production of F-35 parts for up to 12 months.
Good.
Yeah, aren't they brave for doing this?
Yeah. I love planes. Mostly because of video games. But the last thing I want is for us to be sending more weapons and aircraft to Israel. They've been bleeding us dry for decades now, and they don't need any more.
But they're after terrorists.
Oh, they're fighting anti-Semitism. It's great though. The U.S. is doing that fun thing where they fund Israel and then they go, oh, the people that you're bombing, we're going to send them money too.
Right.
So they just get to pretend like their hands are not covered in blood.
Yeah, it's just politics, right? Just appeasing. They appease to the Israel lobby by sending Israel whatever they want. And then the Democrats have to appease to their base and say, well, yeah, okay, we're sending aid as well. So we are sending bombs to kill them. And then we're sending aid to feed them.
Yeah, it's almost like global politics is a big fucking joke, huh?
Yeah, totally. So sad because, as we can see, before we get to that, just quickly, this is a day before Iran launched their the missiles over Israel. All of the Arab leaders, or I guess the foreign ministers, were getting, you can tell, very antsy and scared about what's happening, especially when Israel went into Lebanon. They're like basically thinking they're next, which they probably are.
Yeah.
But here they got on, like, basically pleading Israel, like, we've been wanting peace forever. And here's the foreign minister of Jordan talking about that.
Israeli Prime Minister came here today and said that Israel is surrounded by those who want to destroy it, an enemy. We're here, members of a Muslim Arab committee mandated by 57 Arab and Muslim countries. And I can tell you here, very unequivocally, all of us are willing to right now guarantee the security of Israel in the context of Israel ending the occupation and allowing for the emergence of a Palestinian state, independent state along the reference that we all agree. He is creating that danger because he simply does not want the two-state solution. And if he does not want the two-state solution, can you ask Israeli officials, what is their end game? Other than just wars and wars and wars. I'm telling you, all of us in the Arab world here, we want a peace in which Israel lives in peace and security, accepted, normalized with all Arab countries in the context of ending the occupation, withdrawing from Arab territory, allowing for the emergence of an independent sovereign Palestinian state on June 4, 1967, lies with occupied Jerusalem as capital. That is our narrative. That is, and we will guarantee Israel's security in that context. Can you ask Israelis what's their narrative other than I'm going to continue to go to war, I'm going to kill this and kill that and destroy this and this that? The amount of damage that Israeli government has done, 30 years of efforts to convince people that peace is possible, this Israeli government killed it. The amount of dehumanization, hatred, bitterness will take generations to navigate through. So ultimately the question is, we want peace. And we've laid out a plan for peace. Ask any Israeli official, what is their plan for peace? You'll get nothing because they're only thinking of the first step. We're going to go destroy Gaza, inflame the West Bank, destroy Lebanon. And after that, they have no plan. We have a plan. We have no partner for peace in Israel. There is a partner for peace in the Arab world.
Yeah, they're scrambling because they know they're next. I mean, like, Israel's not going to stop. They don't want to stop. He talked about a two-state solution. They don't want a two-state solution.
No, of course not.
Yeah. So, and then you sent me this. This is before also the missiles that were launched.
Yeah. When did this happen? Monday, Tuesday? Monday.
6 days ago. So yeah, Monday. So basically, right before the missiles were launched. So they are now invading Lebanon, which has nothing to do with Hamas. Although I guess the missiles that were launched from Hezbollah are saying that it is because of what's going on in Gaza. They say stop that and we'll stop. But instead of stopping that, they're just invading. Yeah. And bombing Lebanon.
Fun stuff. Yeah, man, I'm sick of this narrative that Israel is like the poor kid who's been bullied all his life, when that's not the case. They've had the backing of every major government around the world for as long as they've existed. And they have consistently pushed their boundaries, both literally and metaphorically. And they just keep getting away with it. And they pretend like they're always the good guys. I mean, what was the ship that they bombed, off the coast, and they were going to claim it was Jordan? I mean,
the USS Liberty. They were going to claim it was Egypt.
No, I thought it was Jordan. But anyway, I mean, they've been up to, spooky ass Mossad bullshit as long as they've existed.
Yeah, and they never take responsibility. We never do anything about it, ever. Even that USS Liberty, it wasn't even investigated.
And they've completely invaded world politics. This episode is definitely not going to stay up on the air for long. And we're both going to get kidnapped by Mossad, I guarantee it.
Oh, man. Well, here is all, and so the missiles went off from Iran, right? And of course, Israel and the U.S. are saying, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there's some really, I mean, it's heartbreaking footage. I mean, but people in Israel are watching the bombs fall, which of course is very scary. And again, I'm not biased against the Israeli people. I don't like their government at all.
And Iran went after military bases. They didn't touch any civilians. So, of course, they're saying it was a fail. Why it was a fail? Because they didn't hit civilians. So is that now to show if a military operation was good or not, is how many civilians you've killed? They've killed 2,000 civilians in Lebanon already. 2,000. That's more than the entire 2006 war.
Yeah, don't even get started on the Gaza civilians. How many women and children have died?
It's still happening. Of course, they retaliated after this to go hit more civilians.
Yeah,
even though it was military. I mean, look at those missiles. Those are hypersonic.
It's crazy footage. It really is.
That was a military base. They got hit.
So I know the Israelis. A lot of people in Tel Aviv, they got the shelter in place notification. I mean, this looks like a doomsday movie, Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
It?
There's some images showing from Jordan. It looked like falling stars.
Yeah.
Shooting stars. So it was around 200 missiles. They say 90% got through.
Look at that. Oh, man.
Oh. Yeah, see, that's that airport, military airport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, Israel has the Iron Dome, which is American-made, designed to shoot down any incoming projectiles.
Yep.
Of course, no other Middle Eastern country has that.
And we used 12 missiles, apparently Navy missiles. That it takes us a year to make 12, and 12 of them were used that night.
Nice.
To shoot down other missiles. F-35s were used as well. But anyway, so now Israel is saying they're going to retaliate on the oil infrastructure, and then Iran said, if you do that, we'll take out your entire infrastructure.
And
military,
all the poor American boys who are 18 to 20 are now going to go overseas and go die for Israel. You know.
Yep. And of course, they're saying it's unprovoked, but let's not forget, they did assassinate the Hezbollah leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They assassinated that Haniya guy in Iran.
Yeah.
And
plus they had all the stuff with the pagers that they rigged to explode.
And the pagers.
Wild to me.
Just over and over, and no one's expected to do anything about it. Just shut up and take it.
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen Israel's proposed, like, the map that they want Israel to be, it's from the river to the sea. It's the whole region. They want it to be Israel.
Oh yeah, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, I think half of Iraq, and the upper half of Saudi Arabia. All of that.
Yep.
I mean, if it would make sense if, like, the empire that's supporting you is failing, you'd want to take as much land as you could before it fails.
Right.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah, it seems like that, but it doesn't seem like they're failing at all. Well, it doesn't seem like they're failing at all.
Yeah. But what are they going to do with all those, with the populations? What, it's seriously going to move to Europe, the United States? You're talking about, like, millions of people.
I mean, they're doing it already, man.
Kill them.
Yeah. Kill them, and the ones that don't leave, they'll kill, and everyone else they'll force into Europe, Canada, United States. Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then, of course, they blame the immigrants and not the people who are making these wars.
Exactly. It's the playbook, man. Only people with open eyes can see it.
Yeah. So that's crazy, huh? I mean,
very crazy.
And they were precise. They hit where they wanted to hit. And it doesn't matter what the Iron Dome did. So,
yeah, wow.
And Netanyahu came out and he was shaking. He had a paper. He was holding a paper and speaking. He probably didn't expect this.
Yeah, that guy can go fuck himself.
Now,
he owns us, and most people don't see it.
Do you know he brings his dirty undies to the White House?
Yeah, shocker. Isn't Massey's the only one without an APAC guy?
He is. Massey's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it, but now we're talking about Israel right now. But I mean, isn't it just fucked that our country, all of our leadership in our country, they all have someone that they have to report to that is the leader, like, is part of a different country? Isn't that weird? Like, can you imagine if
we're still cooked?
Every single congressperson had a Russian flag outside of, or even a Ukraine flag outside of their office? Like, people would be asking questions. But if it's Israel, can't ask questions.
No, they're so owned by foreign interests instead of us. So Russians, Putin asked 1.5 million Russians living in Israel to leave Israel because apparently also Israel hit a Russian base in Syria.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sent this. I think you sent this to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just we're on the doorstep here, people. It's just as soon as the first nuke goes off, that's it. It's over.
Yeah, that's all it needs. And I wouldn't put it past Israel to do it to Iran to get rid of their Breaking. Harris reassures North Carolina hurricane victims that the U.S. will be donating another $200 billion to Ukraine and Israel in their name.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't, I mean, there's a hurricane that hit, the eastern part of the country, North Carolina, and a lot of people are losing their homes, losing their livelihoods. We talked about this like right as we were setting up the show.
Yeah.
And the U.S. government just keeps sending money to Ukraine, keeps sending money to Israel.
Yep.
They don't give. It's America last is what I keep.
It really is.
What
it
I keep,
really is.
And yeah, the Democrats, because of stuff like this, they're going to continue to lose. I mean, did you see Biden got interviewed in front of the White House, and the reporter was asking him about the floods that were going on? He had no idea about it. He goes, the floods? What floods? What storm? And they go, well, the ones in North Carolina. Go, oh, everyone's all American people are fine and they're doing a good job. Like he had no idea what was going on. I mean, and Kamala is so tone deaf.
But it's really messed up what's going on, right? I mean, then
very messed up.
They're saying that they have no funds, saying that they spent it all on migrants, like billions of dollars on migrants.
There have been so many people on the front lines of what's going on in North Carolina who have turned to social media to talk about what's happening. I mean, it's just corruption from top to bottom. I mean, they're talking about only certain companies can donate, things, food and water, aid to the people of North Carolina because they're on the approved list. You have to be on the approved list to do this. Normal citizens, they're not allowed to go. I could have sworn I sent it to you. Maybe I didn't. The guy.
Yeah, I think we have it here.
The helicopter guy? The guy who's talking about helicopters. That was all private citizenship.
Yeah, so it might be either this one or the next one.
Okay, great.
Wait, is it this one? Is he the helicopter guy?
It's this guy, yeah. Yep.
So, my name's Jonathan Howard. I'm a member of the Florida State Guard Special Missions Unit, and I'm also up here with Aerial Recovery, a nonprofit. I came up here on Sunday with Aerial Recovery before we even got activated. We flew up here, and then we got activated, which was great. I have my team up here working as well. Here's the problem. I'm going to tell you everything that's happening from the ground, what I'm actually seeing, because what they're telling you is complete bullshit on the news, and these politicians don't have a fucking clue, and they're lying. And I'll say this now, I'll say it at the end of the video. The only thing I need from this video is helicopters. If I have helicopters, I can save lives. Without helicopters, I can't reach these people. It doesn't matter how many chainsaws and trucks I got, I can't get to them. They're 10 miles in, 20 miles, 40 miles in the mountains. There's no way to get with them or even communicate with them. I am literally flying around in a civilian helicopter looking for SOS messages carved in the mud or painted on the ground, and we're dropping down and saving them. What got me fired up about this was yesterday, me and my team did the rescue of that 11-day-old baby. And all these government officials and social media, they're showing that video, that pictures and video of that rescue and claiming that like they have some like government help with that. And I mean, even USA, I think it was USA Today, wrote an article about it saying it was a Florida National Guard that went and got it, like with a helicopter. No, it was me, my buddy Charlie, and a civilian named Zeb with his own personal helicopter out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Like without that civilian, that baby would be dead. And the old lady we went and rescued after that, she'd be dead too because she had 1 day left of oxygen. No one was going to go get them. I will tell you, when we go up in the air, I probably see 40 civilian helicopters, and I might see 2 Blackhawks, National Guard, military, whatever they are. That's it. No one's out there doing rescues. I have my entire team up here from Florida right now, and they have no ability to go rescue these people other than what they can drive to. And the people that are in dire need, they're out in the mountains. They are completely cut off. Now, I will say, I spoke to my congresswoman down in Florida, and she's a badass, and she made a bunch of phone calls, and now we got 2 contracted 60s coming up here tomorrow, which is great. I love that, but like, I still don't understand why we don't have more helicopters. Like, we'll get a lot of work done with that, but there's no military. There's no one's doing nothing. It blows my mind.
You know what sucks is that they should at least allow the civilians to help. If they're not going to do it, I mean, I'm one to say like don't rely on federal government because that's not going
Right.
to get you anywhere. It's right here. But then for them to get in the way of the community helping each other, that's beyond evil. That's not incompetence or bureaucracy. That's
Right.
like it makes no sense. It's like they're doing it on purpose.
Exactly.
You did send me this one also. I think this guy is he the same guy? This Ryan Tyre guy.
I thought it's, yeah, I don't know, maybe. If you're wondering, this is Ryan Tyre on X. If you're wondering why citizens are being turned away that are coming to help North Carolina and Tennessee, you want to hear my experience as someone who has been doing this as a private citizen for almost a decade. I was able to get into and out of Asheville. We brought food, water, fuel, and other supplies, as well as helped people affected by the floods. But there are reasons why they're not allowing outside help. I cannot confirm the reasons why in NC, North Carolina, but I can tell you the reasons in other storms I have worked. I'll explain below. Let me share with you the first disaster area that I finally realized this was all about the money. In the Florida Keys with Hurricane Irma, after Texas got hit with Harvey, we finished all of our efforts in Texas and were the first citizen team to make it to Key Largo. The federal agencies had US 1 shut down just south of Key Largo and wouldn't let anyone in or out, even though the road was okay to pass. We explained to them that we had boats, jet skis, food, water, chainsaws, and fuel to bring to these people. They didn't care and wouldn't let us in. It was night by that point, and you rarely saw the lights of vehicles in the distance on the individual keys, meaning the emergency response teams from FEMA weren't even working. It was all quiet. We decided we would go in anyways. We filled up boats and jet skis with all that we could reasonably carry and went by water, all around their BS blockades and around their law enforcement presence in the water.
Awesome.
It was 87 miles by water to get to our first stop,
Wow.
Cujo Key and Sugarloaf Key. When we arrived there, we were greeted by a homeowner for privacy. I won't name him, though we have video, who was elated to see us and all the supplies we brought. His house was in shambles. We started offloading supplies on the shorelines and helping to get them into what was left of his house. During that process, he explained to us that FEMA had set up a command center at a local high school on the island, but that they weren't doing anything to help the residents, not even bringing them water.
Ridiculous.
Instead, he explained that they were driving around using a loudspeaker, telling people to stay in their homes. They weren't even helping the homeowners with supplies. I was skeptical at first while he was telling me all of this, but then he said something that broke my heart. He told us that the people of the Keys were all in despair because they had just seen, weeks before, the overwhelming support for Texas with Hurricane Harvey by the citizens of this country. He and his neighbors on all of the Keys felt like Americans had forgotten about them completely because at this point, 5 days after landfall, all they had seen was FEMA and they were no help. The residents were cut off from the outside world, no cellular, no internet, no way to contact anyone or hear of any efforts to try and help them. The only communication that they had was from a local radio station on Sugarloaf Key that was broadcasting on AM to the surrounding keys.
Nice.
The man, after hearing that they were citizens trying to bring them help, but being refused entry by federal law enforcement, was visibly upset. He and his neighbors really thought the country had abandoned them. He insisted that we get into his waterlogged truck and that he would take us to that radio station so we could go live on air to tell citizens trapped in the Keys that we, the American people, were there to help and the government was trying to stop our efforts. And that's exactly what we did. After that, we were determined to help as many people as we could, but we were met with red tape throughout the whole process. And time we were in the Keys. We were finally able to talk to some authorities to let us into the Ferro Blanco Resort and Marathon towards the end of Boot Key. This was the same hotel where state and local authorities were staging their personnel, and they were happy to see us. I was able to coordinate several trucks full of supplies to be brought down to the EOC in Marathon. I was privy to the EOC meeting, but was informed in that meeting that all of the semi-trucks full of food, water, and hygiene supplies were to be turned around and not allowed to be
unbelievable
for distribution by the EOC. The reason they gave us was that these donations were not from companies on their, in quotes, preferred vendors list, and that they would not accept them or give them to the residents of the Keys impacted by the storm. It was at that point I realized this was all about money. These preferred vendors are getting part of the money being released by the state and federal government for each disaster. In turn, some of the vendors make it on the list because a friend gets them on the list, and in return for getting ridiculously outlandish amounts of compensation for the services they render, they give kickbacks.
Yep.
So accepting outside donations, even though they are on location and can help people now, they would rather let people suffer so they can get their kickbacks. This meeting solidified my resolve to help these people regardless of what the greedy officials wanted. We were going to feed the lower Keys that were being neglected. I diverted all semi-trucks to the Faro Blanco Resort in Marathon and filled the entire first floor with pallets upon pallets of food, water, and essential supplies, and created a food pantry for residents to come and get anything and however much
What
they
an awesome dude.
Yeah. For local state troopers to the homeless, all were given wheelbarrows and free reign to get whatever they needed. We also delivered supplies down to the Big Pine Key. We helped establish the tent city on Big Pine Key. Big companies like Tito's Vodka and Wellen just kept bringing trucks full of everything that was needed. When
Cool.
FEMA finally started handing out boxes of canned goods, limited one per household, we were filling cars full of food and supplies for people and pets. There's so much more to the story in the Keys and further from there and other storms we worked. The common theme, though, is that the federal government always tries to keep citizens from helping the local authorities, and the ones that live and work in the area are always happy to have some outside help.
Of course.
He calls out to Elon Musk and anyone else who can monetarily help people and myself and those who work with me and who have the knowledge and the will to help those devastated by these disasters. Get rid of the red tape, help fill the people with what they need.
Exactly. It's not time for red tape. Like emergencies, you'd think emergencies would like open up things.
Yeah, you'd think so, but we're hearing stories and stories about exactly what that guy was talking about.
Yeah, and here's some, of course, conspiracies are coming up now about why this storm happened.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I saw a post about this on Reddit, and then you sent me this. Very interesting, if true.
If true, exactly. I mean, but we're trying to cover what people are saying on the ground, and if it makes sense, we still have to look at it, even though it's strange and could be outlandish. But I wouldn't put it past these people at this point.
I wouldn't put it past them either.
This flooding in North Carolina does not sit well with me. I think something's going on, so I decided to do some digging. So the first thing I find out is North Carolina has the richest deposits of lithium in the entire world. Yeah, lithium for like cars, batteries, all that. Then I find out they have the world's highest purity quartz deposits. And that quartz just so happens to be the world's supply for AI chips, microchips, and all kinds of stuff. We're talking a $530 billion industry. So this is where it gets interesting. So a company by the name of Piedmont Lithium is awaiting a state mining permit for a site in northern Gaston County. And Gaston County is completely flooded right now. The project was awaiting zoning approval because they were getting backlash from the residents and also city officials. And this lithium mine they want would be the third largest producer of lithium in the world. And they made a deal with Tesla already. Now remember the quartz? So in Spruce Pine, North Carolina, right next to Ashland, they are wanting to expand their mines even larger. And the residents aren't having it either. Enter the floods. People, these are mountain towns. It rarely, if not ever, floods in the mountains. I would know. I grew up in the mountains in Colorado, which means none of these people have flood insurance. I mean, the media is saying biblical devastation in North Carolina, aka like the worst thing that could happen, and you're not coming back from it. Read between the lines, people. Everything happens for a reason.
Scary if true. Wouldn't be surprised. And of course, the government comes out and FEMA warns of Helene misinformation, launches rumor response page.
Yeah, as we know, the government never lies to us. They never, pit themselves as the arbiters of truth because they know best. I mean, we saw this same shit with COVID. I mean,
yes, I was just going to say.
There's all these state governments, that said, hey, if you see someone posting quote unquote misinformation, you can report them to the government, then they'll get arrested. I mean, it's the same shit now.
It is. It's exactly. Don't ask questions. Don't research for yourself. Just listen to government sources, and while we do nothing to help you, we're just going to gaslight you that there's anything nefarious going on.
Yeah, exactly.
We are wrapping up here. This is a funny clip by Lindsey Graham. He is from South Carolina, I think, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So listen to him here.
You can thank Donald Trump and Elon Musk for that. I've been going all over South Carolina like most people. I hadn't slept much. But look what's going on in Israel. Our friends in Israel are surrounded by people that want to kill them, destroy them, a second Holocaust in the making. And Biden says, be proportional. What is the proportional response to people who want to kill you and your family? They're running out of ammunition in Israel. We have to help our friends to keep the war over there from coming here. They're willing to... I've been going all over.
It's just, most people, it's. I'm beyond words at this point. All I know is the next time I'm at work and I screw up, and they go, "Topher, I can't believe you did this. You screwed up so bad," and be like, "I know I screwed up. Look, but in Israel, they're running out of ammunition, and that's what we should be focused on."
They'll leave you alone.
Fucking jackasses! I hate these pieces of shit in our fucking government.
I know. I can't believe he said that. We can't sleep. We've been all of a sudden but what's going on in Israel?
You know what? And I don't say this lightly. What a fucking cunt.
He is. Oh yeah. I'm sure they have videos of him with boys for sure. Little boys.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, he's a weird one. He's a great viewer from Candace. She's just, she depicts what happens with what our politicians care about.
Yeah.
We have candidates that go onto stage when they're running for president of the United States, and they're just like, no, I love Israel more. No, I love Israel more. No, I love Israel. No. When I get in office, I'm going to do more for Israel. No, if she gets in office, she's going to do less than I'll do for Israel. This is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I promise you, nowhere else in the free world are they having these discussions. I will guarantee you, when Bibi Netanyahu is running for office, he's not up there going like, no, I'm going to do more for America. No, I'm going to do more for America, because that's embarrassing. He should not do that either. No one. Zelensky was not like, I'm going to do more for America. No, you do more for America. No, you are do more for America. That's us. That's our presidential debates in a nutshell. And it's embarrassing, and it needs to stop. We have.
So true.
She's dead.
Enough, right? Man. Enough, right? It's embarrassing at this point.
It really is.
That's all our politicians talk about. Even though they said biblical storms hitting multiple states, and we're just shoveling money over there. And there you go, a representative in the Senate, Lindsey Graham, talking on national television. He gave them about 2 seconds saying, yeah, none of us can sleep. But how about Israel?
It's so sickening, man. I mean, we've been fully infiltrated as a country. Again, this is not like anti-Semitic conspiracy theory about Jewish space lasers or something. I mean, this is a real thing that's happening in front of our eyeballs, and you're not allowed to do anything about it, because the second you speak up and go like, you know what? Hey, maybe these Zionists, they're not up to any good. You get branded as an anti-Semite, and you lose your job. You lose your credibility, and it's just fucking ridiculous, man. I'm fired up right now.
It is. And coming out of that relationship, we get nothing out of it. I was arguing with this one dude, and talking about their tech sector. I'm like, we transferred everything over there. It's not like it came out of nowhere. Like all of our, even the investment companies, they invest in there because they have to. It's part of their mandates to invest there. There's transfers of technology from countless of our agencies that we work. And so all that knowledge and technology has been transferred over there over the decades. So of course they're going to have an advanced sector, again, with our help. Nothing is wrong with helping your friends, but if it's only going one way, and that's all our politicians care about instead of their country, it's a big problem, and everyone's noticing it.
Yeah, I was just about to say the one good thing out of this is, despite what you see in the news and what you hear from all of our quote unquote leaders, fuck sticks who raped little kids to get to the top.
Yep.
Citizens are starting to see how terrible Israel is. I mean, that's why, I know a lot of it is just political theater, but people, are protesting Israel and they're promoting Palestine, and for good reason. This didn't just come out of nowhere. It's not Russian propaganda, that people are finally going, not liking Israel.
Right. I mean, they've been seeing it. It's been a year now. Tomorrow's October 7th. So yeah, it's been a year of seeing just blown up civilians on our feeds.
And I mean, how many Americans have died, and it just gets brushed under the rug. No one, it doesn't get the mass media appeal.
No, and I'm sure we're going to send troops over there, and who knows how Israel is going to retaliate. And Iran said that they're going to retaliate 10 times worse. So it's going to blow up into something huge. We're going to be dragged into it because, Iran has 19 million people. Israel has 9. It can't fight Iran. It's going to need us. And of course, you got Trump out there now saying it. And he might be our next president. And, he's going to give them whatever they want, even though he's supposedly anti-war.
It's just like Candace said, you've got 2 presidential candidates, trying to outdo each other, and who's going to suck off Israel the most.
It's so embarrassing and ridiculous.
It really is. But dude, we are approaching on 3 hours here.
All right. Yeah, that we're done. We are done. Not pretty much done.
So we need to wrap it up. I want to thank you all for tuning into a 3-hour special of the Uncovering Anomalies podcast, episode 92. We really appreciate all of you for listening. We appreciate your comments so much. Adam always, he pays attention to the socials, and he's always sending me pictures of comments that you guys leave, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, it is great to see. They're all positive. Keep the feedback coming. Let us know what shows you want us to cover, because that's great as well, especially if it's something like we haven't heard of before.
Right.
But yeah, and you can follow us on X, formerly Twitter. Our handle is UAP the podcast. I'm at Breakaway Civil, and Topher is at Topher it all. And follow us on all the video or your favorite video platforms. YouTube tends to take down stuff. They might take down this one. So if that's the case, go to Rumble. They have not taken down any of our videos. Neither, of course, BitChute or Odyssey.
Has Spotify taken down anything?
No, just YouTube has been taking down stuff. Spotify hasn't taken down anything either.
Well, good. And again, you can watch this episode on Spotify too, and it's free. You don't have to make a membership or anything like that. You can just download the app and watch it for free.
Yeah, and we have no ads. I think on Rumble we have ads though, because they don't give you. If you have a free account there and you are a creator, then they put ads, not us. So they're making money off that.
Typical, and we get nothing in return.
No, nothing or cents on the dollar. But we're ad free everywhere else. We do have a support link at the end of each show, so make sure to click on that and buy us a cup of coffee or something if you like the show. Or if you can't do that, share it with your friends and families. Share it on your social media. Get the word out there about the show, so we can keep on doing this.
Absolutely. And listen, if you donate 6 figures, Adam and I will each both buy Cybertrucks.
Same color,
and we'll put the show logo on the side to promote it.
Yeah, exactly. And your name, the name of the donor, I think.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, if you donate 6 figures, I will definitely put your name on the side of my truck. I don't care. I'll put anything you want.
Powered by. Oh yeah, exactly. You can include your message in the donation.
Yeah, that there's no way that could backfire.
No.
So again, this has been the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. That is, I have a need to know, Adam.
All right, and I do have anything else to add? No, I'm all good. But thanks to all of our listeners and viewers. We really appreciate it. Let's grow the show. It is nice to see that the show grows on a weekly basis, so it's very encouraging.
Absolutely. And I am, oh God, oh no, it happened again. Oh, Oh, where am I? The doors are locked. Oh, I'm trapped. Topher.
Brilliant. Love it.
And we thank you all so much for listening. Yeah, tell a friend about the show. Retweet or repost our show wherever you can.
Yes, that's very helpful.
Yeah, just shove it in your friends and family's faces.
Right. I mean, what's the better way to let 3 hours pass than listen to our voices talk about anomalies and mysteries of the world we live?
Yeah, I would say sleep, but you do you. So
Awesome.
Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you all next week.
So I'm going to try this new feature. Hopefully it works.
Yeah, let's see it.
Oh yeah, it does.